Parker was shocked to hear this. The first blooming celestial vanilla is very powerful. I didn't dare to take him there. Confronted Parker's questioning. Bai Qingqing was a little weak-hearted. Unexpectedly, Parker said that next time he would change places. There are so many empty tree holes in the house. Listen to that. It seems that Parker does not reject Vincent either. Bai Qingqing was also very surprised. That's when Curtis returned. I saw the injured Bai Qingqing. Curtis was also very angry and shocked. All of a sudden, all three people in the room were nervous. Curtis returned home. I saw the unclothed Bai Qingqing. I was shocked. Bai Qingqing said Curtis in a panic. You're back. At this time, Parker suddenly turned around and said. It was Vincent who shook Bai Qingqing. Hi. That's when Curtis suddenly rushed over. With a snap, he shook off Parker with his head and tail, hugged Bai Qingqing and observed his injuries. Parker said it was Vincent who took advantage of the two of them not looking. Took Bai Qingqing to the azure grassland to communicate with him. At this time, Curtis's face was full of black lines. Saw Curtis about to have a seizure. Bai Qingqing also wanted to explain. Parker turned his head to see Vincent walking by. Said the guy was back. Vincent looked up. The premonition was not good. That's when Parker suddenly rushed down. A thud slammed into Vincent's body. Vincent was injured. A cracked cut of water almost spilled, and said viciously, let him boil the water first. It is important to clean the wound of Bai Qingqing. Parker was still arguing with Vincent downstairs. Curtis, upstairs, couldn't help it. Black lines all over the face. I want to let go of Bai Qingqing's hand. Get ready to go down and find out. At this time, Bai Qingqing suddenly hugged Curtis's waist. Said I hurt. Curtis asked distressedly, talk to me. How could it be like this? Cleaned up Vincent. Parker took the hot water and went up to the tree hole. Not for a while. He painted Bai Qingqing's body with green herbs. Hey, shouldn't this green be on their heads? At this time, Bai Qingqing praised. Or Curtis's snakeskin is better to use. It won't get dirty at this time. Curtis said there are no fresh snake molts right now, but there are the previous ones. But it's all in Wansho City. If needed, he's going to get it. Bai Qingqing refused so far, so forget it. The old one is still okay to wear. Now is the time to show your determination. Vincent volunteered to rush out and said, I'll go. Bai Qingqing saw the injured Vincent. The blamed Parker was too heavy. Parker hugged his chest proudly, turning his head and saying, I'm too light. If only Curtis had hit. He's dead. Bai Qingqing was explaining that Curtis wouldn't. I saw Curtis raise her tail, ready to get over. At this time, Bai Qingqing hurriedly pressed Curtis's tail. It's too far. You've also been poisoned by scorpions. It's too dangerous out there. Vincent then said that now the danger was gone. The leader of the scorpion has been killed by him. The scorpion beasts will never come again. Bai Qingqing rushed over excitedly. Leaning closer to Vincent, he said that he couldn't go. Good at home. Hear this. All three were shocked at the same time. Only Vincent's heart had more surprise and warmth. Rest and recuperate. Vincent blushed. Happily promise me to listen to you. Bai Qingqing told Vincent to hurry up and rest. Before Vincent could say Niewei's words. At this point, Curtis couldn't help it. It ended with a snap and a flick. Threw Vincent out. Vincent was left behind. Immediately after that, another bag was dropped. Knock turned out to be Parker standing upstairs. Shout loudly to grab your luggage. Get out of here. Don't think you're tied to Qingqing. We will accept you. No way this home for me. It's the boss. I said no, just split it. Curtis threw Parker out with a flick of his tail. At this time, Bai Qingqing walked to the door. Said to Vincent, his two husbands have not yet fully accepted him. Let him grieve himself outside for a while. Vincent's obedient reply was okay. I get it. From now on, Vincent will no longer be a beast. Bai Qingqing and Vincent after a battle on the grass. It's been a few days. Now Bai Qingqing's body has recovered as before. Curtis kept holding back Bai Qingqing. Don't let Bai Qingqing go to see Vincent. Vincent was not allowed to enter the cave either. That's when it happened. A call rang out from outside the cave calling Qingqing. You're out. Bai Qingqing turned his head to look. It turned out to be Vincent. Vincent rushed anxiously. I want to see the injuries on Bai Qingqing's body. Is there any better? Bai Qingqing turned around and looked. After my sister's scab fell off, it was completely healed. Vincent caressed Bai Qingqing's injured place in distress. He blamed himself and said that he blamed me. Let your slippery shoulders slippery. Leave such a big scar. At this time, Bai Qingqing turned around and comforted Vincent and asked what he had been doing these days. Vincent shyly turns around and geeks into the distance. I saw that the trees and the ground were covered with fans. It was all done by Vincent alone, and said that these fans are all made for Bai Qingqing, so that he can eat vermicelli even in the cold season. Bai Qingqing marveled at everything in front of her, but I was very worried whether Vincent's poison was completely cured. Vincent said it was becoming less and less virulent. The impact on myself is getting smaller and smaller. I saw Vincent working alone. Bai Qingqing offered to help, but Vincent stopped you on the side. Rest well. I'll take care of everything. Then I'll wash the stone fruit. You're not a beast now. Don't do everything yourself. Then Bai Qingqing ended. A pot of stone fruit was raised. Walked away and heard Bai Qingqing's words. Vincent was moved to tears. I feel that I am so happy. After a while, Bai Qingqing came to the water's edge and washed the stone fruit. At this time, a fish came in the water. Hey, it turned out to be Blue Hair. Bai Qingqing, where have you been these days? Blue Fur excitedly rushed out of the water. That Loner Lanes. Long time no see. Sharp-eyed Loner. I found out at once. The white tiger beast pattern on Bai Qingqing's shoulder. So the vinegar swelled up. Viciously asked, have you disarmed Vincent? Bai Qingqing touched Huwen. Happily displayed in front of Huang Mao. Yes, it's been a while. Blue Fur immediately thought of Vincent. Then you can definitely do it yourself. He then asked Curtis if he had accepted Vincent. Accepted, but he is not allowed to enter the tree hole. It will be fine in the future. At this time, the excited Blue Hair suddenly burst out of the water. With a bang, he hugged Bai Qingqing and said, what about me? If I communicate with you. But Curtis can accept it. Bai Qingqing explained. He can help Blue Fur find a female. Blue Fur said with some loss. But I'll recognize you. Bai Qingqing said aggrievedly. Curtis won't accept you. Then Blue Fur hugged Bai Qingqing's shoulders. He asked why. Bai Qingqing, who was in pain, shouted loudly, don't do this. It hurts me. The blue door above the angry head can't manage so much. Ask sharply. Answer me quickly. Then, Bai Qingqing also said without hesitation, Rithis said, you can't go ashore and not stand. That's why I can't choose you as my partner. Coaxing Blue Hair suddenly felt like a lightning strike. Let go of Bai Qingqing like a deflated ball. Bai Qingqing looked at Lan Mao with palpitations. Thought he was about to explode again, and persuade Blue Fur to calm him down. At this time, the Blue Hair was word by word. Spoke out about his difficult decision. I can go ashore without columns. Bai Qingqing left Lanze. Holding the stone fruit, he walked back. I thought that I couldn't stop the door just now. I'm going to hunt myself. Bai Qingqing is also helpless. I can only hope that he can retreat from the difficulties. After a long time, it will automatically give up. Even if you don't give up. If you stay on land for a long time, you get used to it. Maybe it's also more convenient to find a partner on land. It's the best of both worlds. Walked back to the accommodation. Parker said as if to show off. Hit a big prey today. You can eat barbecue today. Bai Qingqing was very happy to hear it. After a while, several people began to happily roast meat. A few little cubs are fighting for food. There was a fight on the side. Bai Qingqing spoke to stop it. Parker stopped him. When it comes to being as old as they are, already knows how to hunt, and his 3 children were weaned at such an age. It's a shame to say it, and said that the time is almost up. It's time to teach them how to hunt. Bai Qingqing learned it early. You can learn it later. Parker seriously refused. The sooner you learn, the better. The world is full of dangers. The more severe I am with them now, the better their chances of surviving later. But don't make a fuss. Now go and eat. I'll take you there in the afternoon. Subsequently, the three little cubs suddenly became well-behaved and sensible. Be obedient. At this time, Parker was like an instructor. Said very well. Eat cleanly. Food must not be wasted. I watched Parker train the cubs very harshly. Bai Qingqing was also very pleased. At this time, Bai Qingqing turned his head. Vincent was seen nibbling on his hooves, and reminded that there is no meat on the skin. Allow Vincent to eat a little more meat. That's when Parker heard. One handful of it dragged off the skinny leg. Domineering said it was mine. Then he whimpered and bit down. Vincent said. Bai Qingqing thought that there was a lot of fat on his stomach. Usually it is used for oil refining. I don't want to eat like this at all. So he prepared to cut off the flesh from the back of the beast. Give him food. Parker grabbed it again, tearing the flesh off the back of the beast. Savagely shouted that these were the cubs. Then he threw it on the ground with a thud, and said viciously to the cubs, "Don't leave a bite left." The three cubs have eaten almost enough. My stomach is holding up. Frustrated, I want to eat obediently, but his own ability is limited. I can't eat it anymore. Seeing Parker so excessive, Bai Qingqing couldn't hold back any longer. Shouting loudly is okay. Parker turned his head aggrieved. Meow Meow looked at Bai Qingqing with tears in her eyes. Bai Qingqing saw Parker's death, reaching out and stroking Parker's head, comforting him. Are we not as bad as we used to be? Eat as much as you like. Parker's aggrieved eyes sobbed with tears, and questioned whether Bai Qingqing didn't like him anymore. Females are liked. Males are eligible for preference. And every time let Vincent eat first. I definitely like him the most. The wife gives the meat to other men to choose. This made Parker feel very aggrieved. He bowed his head and gnawed on a large mouthful of meat. Chewed up. See such a performance. Bai Qingqing was also speechless for a while. It's not good to have too many husbands. Explain to Parker that I'm just like us. Eat as much as you used to. Parker looked up and was just that. Truly, I swear. Looked at Bai Qingqing's sincere eyes. Parker didn't care anymore. It didn't matter what you ate, as long as he likes himself all the time. Then immediately I got up and ate whatever I wanted. See, you coaxed Parker. Bai Qingqing immediately turned to Vincent and said, whatever you want. Parker's mood instantly brightened. Thinking of it, Bai Qingqing didn't eat much meat. Proposed to go cook some vermicelli for him. As soon as he got up, the patriarch of the fifth clan came over. He bowed his head and reported to Vincent. There isn't much salt left in the tribe. And how much salt? Now only the females still have salt to eat. As usual, the salt has been changed by this time. Unexpectedly, the bacon that was exchanged for salt was destroyed by the Scorpion clan. So no one has salt in stock. After a few days, even the females will have no salt to eat. The situation is critical. Vincent made his decision immediately. You can only save a little. I'll wait until next year to change the salt. At this time, the patriarch proposed a settlement as large as Wanshou City. There must be a lot of salt. They can trade in hides. Vincent then said that there had been an earthquake. There is no longer Wanshou City. The patriarch was shocked. So what to do? If you don't eat salt for a year, you'll die. Bai Qingqing proposed at this time. Why not try extracting salt from seawater? This is Bai Qingqing before crossing. What you learn on TV. The team leader immediately retorted, we're not merfolk. How to extract salt? Standing and talking does not hurt your back. Bai Qingqing lowered her head and pondered. They have to be convinced that they can make salt. At this time, Vincent put his head on Bai Qingqing's hand. Touching Bai Qianqian's head, he asked, do you have any way? Bai Qianqian immediately explained. She had seen boiled seawater in her hometown. After the moisture has dried, the rest is all salt. The patriarch questioned again, saying that he would be able to get salt in this way. Have you cooked it? Bai Qingqing patted her chest and said no. But I'm sure I'll make it. There's no way anyway. Give it a try. Vincent readily agreed. As long as it succeeds, Bai Qingqing will not be ostracized in the tribe. Vincent then instructed to gather some males. Get ready to head to the seaside. Wait until Vincent turned his head to look at Bai Qingqing. Bai Qingqing, who fell into deep thought. Vincent's call didn't seem to be heard. Vincent walked over and sat down. Touching Bai Qingqing's face, he asked what he was thinking. Actually, there is another way. But I don't know if it will work. In case not, it's okay, you can say it. What we have is strength. No matter how hard you work, you are not afraid. One more way, one more hope. How can traveling to the orc world get delayed? The following is the method introduced by Bai Qingqing. Near the beach, find a place that won't be flooded when the tide is high, and a windy and sunny place. Dig a big hole. Then the seawater is poured in. After going in, you can wait for him to dry. Bai Qingqing explained the method of making salt. In the blink of an eye, Vincent led the orcs to the seashore. Found a place with the right topography. Started a big hole. When everything is ready, and he poured the seawater into the pit. An orc questioned Vincent's approach. Vincent fell to the ground with a thud. Explained to him that the salt drying is successful. Bask once. It would be able to keep the tribe with salt all year round. Then he ordered to go down and divide into 2 teams. A team of main salt. A team of salt. In order to get salt. In this way, it is more prudent to take a 2-pronged approach. After Vincent gave the order, many acquaintances are full of energy. They started to get busy. In the evening, Bai Qingqing squatted in the tree hole, counting the days of his relatives. Parker urged Bai Qingqing to come in and sleep. Bai Qingqing said to Parker. He was counting the days of his relatives. Parker said, relatives are coming soon. After that, you can't just talk casually. Bai Qingqing turned her head in confusion. Parker rushed over excitedly. I want to hug Bai Qingqing. Say it's too late, then it's too fast. A snake tail suddenly wrapped around Bai Qingqing's waist. With a sigh, Bai Qingqing was lifted. Parker pounced. Get on your knees. It's the damn snake again. Beast Parker turned his head to look. The hand slapped on the ground. Take off with your strength. It jumped with a thud. Dodged the sweep of the snake's tail. After landing on the ground, he said chicly, You think I'm going to get the same move? Hit twice. Innocence then jumped up, saying I'm an orc at the top of the food chain. I've already known your attack routine. The words are not finished yet. Parker himself fell. Then Bai Qingqing turned his head to look at Curtis. Let him put himself down. But Curtis just wouldn't let go. Bai Qingqing suddenly blushed and her heart jumped. Nervously asked, You don't want to think about it too? Curtis then used his mouth. Cover Bai Qingqing's mouth. Bai Qingqing thought in his heart that he was the same as a human being. He can't bear it if he goes on like this. Parker smacked up. Saw Bai Qingqing and Curtis knock. Fell down. He should be at the bottom of the tree. It shouldn't be in a tree. Then he shouted aggrievedly, It's my turn tomorrow. Half a month later. Bai Qingqing was alone under the tree. The pain in his lower abdomen made him shiver. It's all because of my 2 husbands. Too much hard work. Bai Qingqing, who was sore and soft, wanted to rest for 2 days. Stretch to relieve your exhaustion. At this time, Jasmine suddenly burst out. I really envy you. This startled Bai Qingqing. He always shows up that way. Molly said in frustration that you just gave birth to a cub last year. All in heat. I haven't. Bai Qingqing immediately retorted what you said. The words of the tiger and the wolf. Bai Qingqing denied to Jasmine that she was not in heat. The sound of the 2 arguing caught the attention of Chorus and Parker. Jasmine asked righteously, Don't try to lie to me. I've heard you screaming like that as soon as it gets dark these days. All of them know you're in heat. This can be white. Qianqian was terrified. Suddenly his face was full of black lines. Jasmine, however, was still trapped in her own emotions. Doesn't muttering quietly that estrus is contagious? How did I listen to you call for so many days? I didn't even react. Bai Qingqing was suddenly furious. Viciously tickled Jasmine. When the two were fighting, suddenly there was a tiger roar behind him. Bai Qingqing guessed that it should be Vincent, and they were back. Parker immediately hugged Bai Qingqing. They hurried to the place where Vincent and the others had returned. Jasmine ran behind. Single dog sour. Not for a while. The two of them hurried to the place where Vincent had returned. At this time, the crowd in front of us was bustling. The chattering crowd was gathered together. I thought about it before because of the Scorpion clan. The orcs in the clan didn't treat Bai Qingqing very well. He also decided not to squeeze through it now. So he called Vincent over. Asked him about the situation. Vincent listened to the call. I quickly walked over. Keeping you waiting? Bai Qingqing hurriedly asked. Did it work? You come with me. Well, but... Come on. Vincent pulled Bai Qingqing past the crowd. Walked to the side of the rock tube. On the way forward, Bai Qingqing looked left and right. I saw a change in people's attitudes towards themselves. Vincent pointed to the barrel in front of him. It was filled with a bucket full of salt. And speaking of the two methods proposed by Platinum Star, salt has already been made. You are the blessing of our tribe. We will never run out of salt again. Thank you, Oops. You're welcome. At this time, the leader of the bar spirit team came over. Say thank you. Bai Qingqing. Many businessmen also cast a goodwill smile. Thanked Bai Qingqing. Bai Qingqing said politely embarrassedly. Numerous orcs gathered around to see the salt. And this side, Blue Fur walked over carrying the carcass of an animal. Curiously asked, You actually made salt? Yes, Blue. Mao, come and see. It's a big tank. Blue Fur was slightly surprised. They are a group. It's almost a year to refine such a vat. They can actually make it. After walking over, I found fault with it. There is also a lot of fine sand and impurities in it. Bai Qingqing said that it doesn't matter. The sand can be filtered out. The bar spirit patriarch walked over from behind. Bumped Lon Minner on the shoulder. Say you can do it. You can do it. I don't see you helping us. The other orcs roared as well. Since you don't contribute much to the tribe, then shut up for me. Seeing this, the blue hair gritted his teeth. Cut it. He turned around and left. At this time, Bai Qingqing immediately stopped the blue hair. How did you get hurt? His back was covered with blood. The merfolk in the water went ashore. He also learned to hunt. Bai Qingqing was worried that it was Blue Hair who was injured. At this time, Blue Fur explained the blood flowing from his body. It's all about this prey on the shoulder. Bai Qingqing praised the blue-haired wolf for running fast. He actually caught it. Blue hair. At this time, he frowned and said that the mermaid hunted on land. The orcs of the land went to the sea to refine salt. It seems that there is no difference between them anymore. There is a slash-and-burn culture. A sense of epic slowly evolving from civilization. Bai Qingqing comforted the slightly sad blue hair. Blue Fur was right. I will take clean salt and give you my birthday. There are too many salt impurities. Don't eat it and you'll get sick. Bai Qingqiang turned his head. I saw it because of the scramble for salt. Beat the orcs with bags all over their heads. He told them to strain the salt before eating. Otherwise, it's easy to get sick. Vincent asked how to filter it. Add water to dissolve. Then filter it with animal skins. Also refill the water. The orcs were taken aback. How can it be mixed with water? How do you eat it? If you have water, you can't put it. It was extracted with great difficulty. Oh yes. What if the lake water is mixed with salt and can't be salted? Impurities picked. Just pick it up. Here a lot of doubts. Bai Qingqiang grabbed a handful of salt containing impurities. Let's take a look. There are many impurities in it, and there is no end to it. And said the salt to Vincent with great certainty. The female will definitely not be able to stand it if she eats it. Duan Shui Master Vincent said, "Why don't we filter half a bucket first? What kind of hides are needed?" "I'll prepare." Bai Qingqing suggested that he have a suitable animal skin. "Let Parker hurry up and take him back. When you are about to enter the tree hole," Bai Qingqing said, "use Curtis's snake molt to filter out impurities. The effect is the best." Curtis was very upset when he heard this. He quickly closed the box with the snake's tail, pretended to fall asleep. Bai Qingqing and Parker returned to the tree hole. Curtis is found asleep. Quietly walked over. The box was opened with a creak. Began to rummage through the chest for the previous snake molt. And speaking of this snake molt, that is, snake skin, the breathability is very good. No other hides can replace it. I searched for a long time but couldn't find it. That's when Parker turned away. Saw Curtis, who was pretending to be asleep. Just beside Curtis, he sniffed over and over again. Searched. Then he immediately squatted on the ground as if he was invited. Said to Bai Qingqing that it was pressed under him. "I smell it." "Okay, so you hid it. Take it out." I'm going to push Curtis hard with Bai Qingqing. But Curtis didn't move. You can never wake up someone who is pretending to be asleep. Pacty dug a hole from under the tree hole. You can get that snake leg out. Hear the idea. Curtis opened his eyes in an instant and glared at Parker. But in an instant, his eyes were frightened. Bai Qingqing immediately rejected this idea. Then he coquettishly looked at Curtis. Said, "Good husband. You will be merciful. Move your body." Curtis wondered what a good husband was. "That's it. I'm so shy." Subsequently, explains the meaning of a good husband is a good partner. Curtis heard. He stood up suddenly, blushing and asking, "I'm a good partner. Well, I can't stand it." This python orc has been unpopular since he was a child, even if you share your partner with someone else. Nor did he get the affirmation of his partner. Now he has been praised by Bai Qingqing. He was very touched and happy. Looked at Bai Qingqing with love. Bai Qingqing said incomprehensibly, "You are fine. Are you okay, Curtis?" Curtis snapped and grabbed Bai Qingqing's hand. Said Xiaobai, "I'm willing to do anything for you." Bai Qingqing felt very shy. "If you hate it, give me your clothes." Okay, Parker's heart must be sour at this time. Curtis cursed. Scheming Curtis took out the snake he was holding down. "Hey, isn't this my bandeau breast?" Thinking that this piece of fabric is so small. "How long do you have to use it to filter?" Grease said. That didn't work anyway. He had to keep his skirt. When it is left in the hot season, you can change the white, green, and green. Bai Qingqing asked, holding a bandeau and questioning. "This is what I wear on my chest. Strain the salt with this. It feels strange when you eat it." Curtis and Parker thought of milky. Milky salt is definitely not a no. Then Curtis snapped. Snatched the bandeau in Bai Qingqing's hand. Very reluctantly, he handed the skirt to Bai Qingqing. "Take it." Bai Qingqing leaned his head. He opened his red-lipped mouth, chirped into Curtis's face. Soon after, the crowd used snake molts to filter out a large number of bugs and the carcasses of small fish. Everyone worked silently in groups. Mixed with water. Moss water of moss. Filtration that is responsible for filtration. Soon after, Vincent sent the tiger beast. Huge boulders have been used to create mini salt ponds. It is used to make salt. It's finally coming to an end. Sound a busy day. Vincent told Bai Qingqing to hurry up and go to rest. Bai Qingqing invited Jasmine to eat vermicelli together. It's terrible to eat vermicelli. Then I smelled a strange stench. Turn your head to look. It turned out to be his 3 little cubs. Each has a prey in its mouth. Bai Qingqing happily picked up the cub. The boss caught the birds. The second child caught a rabbit. It's all great. The third child pretended to cough deeply twice. Hey, what did the third child catch? The hair is so beautiful. Then I thought of being in nature. Anything that is more beautiful in color is highly poisonous. And it seems that the smell is getting stronger. Jasmine laughed and twitched. Ha 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 ha. Qingqing, your cub caught the head of the rotten tail fox. I have to go home first. Ha ha ha. Qingqing didn't understand what Jasmine was running. Didn't you say you would stay and eat? Jasmine replied loudly that she would come back in a month. At this time, Parker's bucket fell to the ground in shock, cursing loudly at the stinky cubs. You me off and sleep on the top floor. Not allowed to come down for a month. And told Bai Qingqing not to go over. Bai Qingqing didn't understand what it was for. Parker then turned his head and explained. The appendiced fox will fart when frightened. The third child will stink for a month. Parker teaches his children a lesson. Don't let him catch brightly colored prey. He didn't listen. It stinks so much. I don't even want to beat you up. The third child shed tears of grievance. This death is exactly the same as his father's crying. Bai Qing walked over and comforted the third child's face. Don't be sad. A month passed quickly. Mommy won't dislike you. The third child shed tears of emotion. Really? Bai Qingqing looked at the cute cubs. It's so happy that you don't want it. Real moms won't lie to you. The third meow and threw himself into Bai Qingqing's arms. The third child is closer to each other. Bai Qingqing took a sharp breath. I suddenly felt like I was about to faint. It stinks, and then he lifted the third child up. Said sorry to the third child. The love of the third mother can only hold on to this. Then he left the third child and walked away. The third child turned his head and saw his two brothers. Ha ha laughed out loud. Then he fought with his two brothers. At this point, Parker walked over and saw the blue-tailed fox. After a closer look, it was found that the fur was not bitten. You can also make clothes for Bai Qingqing. The eldest and second heard it, and also with the skins of their prey. Make clothes for Bai Qingqing. Parker said disgustedly, it was too small. I can't do it, and you stink. Give me all the top floors. Scheming beasts. Third. He wiped his wounded face viciously. The ploy succeeded. In the evening, Parker washed clean and prepared to go up to the tree hole to rest. I saw Vincent, who was not qualified to enter the cave under the tree. Said mockingly, there are many beasts. It is estimated that it will take a lifetime of pillar tints. It's not like me. Qingqing only feels sorry for me. Then Parker jumped up into the tree hole with a thud. Hey, how did Qingqing fall asleep? Then he said Curtis to Bai Qingqing. It's already up. It's my turn today. Bai Qingqing is shy. No. Said no. I'm going to sleep. His inner concern was that the treehouse was not soundproofed. He didn't want to blow up the tribe at night. Bai Qingqing is now the most hopeful. It's his relatives who hurry over. Parker was worried that Bai Qingqing was too tired. I gave up on that idea. Bai Qingqing immediately sat up. He asked Parker why he was afraid he would be tired. Parker said simply, because I like you. It feels like it's close to you when I'm with you. Of course, it's all negative. I want to be with you all the time. This sudden confession also made Bai Qingqing unbearable to blame Parker anymore. He then offered to let Vincent come up and sought Parker's advice. Parker thought for a moment. In order not to embarrass Parker, I had to compromise, and said if Curtis agreed. He didn't have a problem either. At this time, Bai Qingqing howled at the top of the tree hole. If Curtis doesn't respond, even if you say yes. Curtis also has a black line on his face. But there was no speech either. It's the default. Bai Qingqing turned around and told Vincent to hurry up. Since then, Mahjong has been able to make a table. The combination of the four giants of the orc world is completed. Everyone was in good order, under Vincent's arrangement. Moved the brine to the Star Meadows. It was poured into the pit and basked in salt water. There are no trees around here. The wind is relatively strong. Direct sunlight. The orcs were on guard for less than 2 days. You get pure salt. Hey, I'm really not afraid that the flavor of the starry grass is mixed in the salt. Ate stinky ha-ha. The whole village was sealed. Through the efforts of numerous orcs. Finally got the salt out. Here's the salt. It is enough for the tribe to eat for more than 10 years. That's when Vincent proposed. Let them use salt to go to other tribes to change magnetism. If the means of production are sufficient, it's time to address personal issues. Bai Qingqing heard a lot of people making noise under the tree hole. It turned out that Vincent had summoned a lot of orcs to come over, discuss how to go out and exchange salt for females. The orcs had different attitudes towards this suggestion. Stronger males disagree with this suggestion. Vincent asked, then, can you protect your female? Of course, the males can't even be protected by the females. Vincent interrupted directly. But when the scorpions invaded, not many males seemed to be sure, able to hold the female of the tribe. Vincent's rhetorical question. Many orcs bowed their heads in shame. The bar is fine, and the length is omitted. After thinking about it, he asked the king, what are you going to do? Vincent said, do you know Wanshou City? Knowing is a very large settlement. King, you are from the city of longevity. Do you know how many females there are in Wanshou City? Everyone looked at each other, overwhelmed. There are almost 400 females. It's 20 times more than here. Later, it was also said, it's because there are so many females. It attracted a lot of strong people, joined the city of longevity. And there were tens of thousands of strong people at that time, and told everyone about his revenge. I want to sort out a tribe that is stronger than Wanshou City. There weren't many deaths among the females in Wanshou City, but the males who can protect them are not enough. It is likely to have been divided among different races. Now is the best chance to do so. Those races with wealthy females. It should be generous to trade those females for salt. We allow those females. Bring your original partner with you. One to soothe their emotions. Second, it strengthens the strength of the tribe. After there are more females, word spreads. There will be strong people who will join. Or orcs like the Eagle clan take the initiative to join. The tribe will soon become stronger. Stray beasts are no longer a threat. After an impassioned speech, many orcs whined in response. Bai Qingqing suddenly realized when he heard this. That's what it is. There are many strong people in 10,000 B city. Looking at individual strength alone, it is indeed very strong. At least there won't be bullying by the Scorpion clan. And under Vincent's leadership, there will be no such intrigues. Bai Qingqing fantasized in her heart. Vincent founded and led the tribe. What kind of picture should that be? It's very exciting. It was also an important step in the urbanization of the orcs. An important step in the urbanization of the ancient orcs. Unfolding. Under Vincent's arrangement. A part of the young strong. Hurry with 20 jars of salt to other tribes to change females. If there is too much salt belt. Worried about the eyes of people from other tribes. When he saw it, he became murderous. Pay for one's whistle. So I brought 20 cans. The males left the tribe with the salt in a mighty way. They left. Jasmine was depressed. The lads are gone. He was left here. The only female who doesn't have male pills. Jasmine said proudly. Anyway, he is also the most beautiful among the females. Although it was said that it was very demanding before. But not so far today. Then I thought about it with chagrin. I knew that today's bears were going to leave. He picks one of the suitors. Oops, forget it. All gone. Bai Qingqing comforted. Wait until the tribe grows. There will be more excellent seeded players in the future. Like eagles, leopards, and whatever. Take your pick. Hear this. Jasmine sat up excitedly. That's too tempting, isn't it? Then I want a heroic beast companion. Well, 2 beasts. Well, pick 3 more. You order. Well, no. It's the little ones who make the choice. I want them all. Time passed slowly. A gentle breeze was blowing on the grass. Jasmine suggested that it would be too early to go back. Bai Qingqing called for Vincent to come over quickly. Vincent walked over. Hugged Bai Qingqing in front of the single dog Jasmine. Jasmine on the side was shy. I am also very envious. At this time, Bai Qingqing turned around and called Jasmine. Let's go back soon. Don't let the wind blow away. Then the two parted ways. The rain began to fall heavily. Bai Qingqing watched the rain outside the window. See what Vincent was messing up there. Asked where Vincent was going again. Vincent said he was looking for a place. See where you can build a nest. Now the living quarters of the tiger clan are too small. It is impossible to cram all of them here after increasing the number of people. The mood is about to say, what to see Parker back with the cubs. Then he said to Vincent, you see that Turin has become like this. Why don't you wait for the weather to clear up? Vincent readily agreed. These two people actually in front of their first husband. Sprinkled dog food. Parker angrily at the little cub. Carry the little cub and let him go to the top floor. Because when I mentioned it, I smelled a foul smell. Parker's anger skyrocketed. Directly threw all three little cubs out. Bai Qingqing was very worried. Did your little cub fall? Do you get sick after the rain? Parker said Qingqing like a competition for favor. I'm soaking wet. Bai Qingqing pushed Parker's face away. Said you wiped it clean yourself. Parker walked over and comforted Bai Qingqing. Said that the cubs will not be so vulnerable. You can't get drenched. Bai Qingqing sighed. That's it. The three of them heard the movement. It turned out to be Curtis who walked out. Seeing him, it seemed like he was going out. Curtis said. He was going out to help Bai Qingqing find some thorn fruits. Bai Qingqing wondered if there were not many thorn fruit tribes. Curtis reminded that the thorn fruit was there to clean his teeth. Although the aquatic weed can clean the teeth. But Bai Qingqing was moved. Curtis actually remembered. Even he almost forgot about it. That thorn fruit cleans the teeth. It's raining heavily. Curtis is going out to help Bai Qingqing find the fruit. Then we set off. Parker also went to help Bai Qingqing cook vermicelli. Delicious vermicelli comes to mind. Bai Qingqing nodded for a while. Then he said that all he needed was to put vermicelli. Eating too much meat lately. It's a little fat. Parker replied that you're not fat. What does it look like to be fat? You are the most beautiful. Bai Qingqing looks at yourself full. Appears round and plump. It's not an option. Then I thought of eating smaller, more frequent meals. At this time, Parker pulled Bai Qingqing with a word. Back to reality. If you want me to say it. It's good that your whole body is so fat. At this time, Parker's hand began to be dishonest. Bai Qingqing was shocked. Parker is also very shy. Just when Parker was already in the play, Bai Qingqing immediately pushed Parker away. Then I thought to myself, men like slender ladies when they are young, and middle-aged men like plump prodigals. Parker, that's all grown on my hands. I'm going to sleep, Parker asked aggrievedly. So what do I do? Bai Qingqing stretched out his finger and poked. Parker was in pain instantly. Vincent had just come up from underground. The two looked at each other. Parker angrily said to Vincent, Look, look. Then he went over and hugged Bai Qingqing and wanted to sleep together. Bai Qingqing warned Parker, if you're not honest, get out. After the rain stopped, Curtis is back. But after coming back, he sat by and was silent. Bai Qingqing asked if he hadn't found the thorn fruit, and comforted Curtis and said no. That thing can clean your teeth too. Ben wanted to comfort Curtis. Unexpectedly, the atmosphere was even more gloomy. Chris stood up suddenly. Said that he was going back to Wanshou City. Bring all the white and green things over. The thornberry tree may still be there. At this time, Bai Qingqing suddenly pounced. Hugged Chris from behind. After the heavy rainy season, let's talk about it. Bai Qingqing was worried about Curtis, who was once a stray beast. Go out on your own. Hum said he was not at ease. Curtis immediately agreed not to go far away. Parker on the side trembled aggrievedly. Blue fur hiding behind a tree is even less eligible. Then there was a misunderstanding. Bai Qingqing was worried about cleaning her teeth. And their mermaid clan cleans their teeth with small silverfish. Then I was ready to go back to the sea. Go find some to come over and coax Bai Qingqing to open. If a heart is happy, maybe you can be his partner. And he made that decision. The first three people didn't know it. At the same time as several people were talking, there was a bird's cry in the sky. A big bird flew over. The big bird landed on the ground. It turned out to be Green Hair. Green Hair came over and hi. Bai Qingqing. Green hair, you hurry up and put on the leather skirt. The timeline jumps a bit. Jasmine, a single dog, is alone and lonely stepping on wildflowers. See such beautiful wildflowers. He also smiled like a single dog. Then I heard a voice coming from behind me. When I turned my head, it turned out to be a bang, and the green hair fell to the ground. Jasmine's eyes suddenly appeared with a beautiful man. Wait, my green hair just hit the ground. It caused Parker and Curtis to be dissatisfied. The two of them were about to tear him apart. Bai Qingqing grabbed the two. Asked how Greenfur had come. Greenfur said he had been living outside the tribe. If it weren't for Vincent. The green hair can't see the white-green now, said Vincent. Vincent arrived. Bai Qingqing saw Vincent coming over. Asked where he had been early in the morning. Vincent said, early in the morning, I went to the river to pick wild vegetables for him. See very fresh wild vegetables. Bai Qingqing was very happy. Jasmine's voice could be heard in the distance. Jasmine resembles a small wild dog from a distance. Crazy running here. This way, I followed the trail of green hair. Just when she was doing nymphomaniac. Suddenly, half of his foot kicked the root of the tree. It fell to the ground with a thud. Per came a single dog. There was a single dog in the whirl. The collision with the tree instantly stopped, and the car stopped. Jasmine crashed into the tree. Numerous bears pounced, worried about his condition. Jasmine disliked them very much. Push everyone away and don't touch me. Then he pounced on Bai Qingqing for comfort. Why are you so careless? It's all bleeding. And Jasmine's heart is concerned about Wow at this time. So handsome, beautiful man. It's not small there. It's still a two-striped beast. Qingqing, you know. Bai Qingqing cared about Jasmine's wounds. Let him hurry up and deal with it, so as not to infect the wound. Alva was also drawn to the scene. Look down. See Jasmine. Well, this magnetism looks pretty good too. Although it is far worse than Bai Qingqing. But it's much stronger than the original Bella. Especially the knock-knock is also very big. Well, it used to be its own pattern, which was too small. Parker asked how Vincenz got in. Vincent said it was his own idea. Then look up. Alva was on top of his head. This shocked Vincent's face with black lines. Hurry up and beckon the green fur to come down. The green hair fell to the king of the earth with a thud. Where do I live? Find your own tree to nest in. This overwhelmed the green fur. Be all abroad. Bai Qingqing took Molly to treat the wound. Although the wound was very painful, but Molly's heart is sweet. I've been talking about the green hair. A nymphomaniac. Bai Qingqing persuaded her that it was best not to let her like the green hair. Green hair is an extreme face control. And met him. Get rid of the female who has been pursuing for a long time without any regrets. Hear Jasmine here. Bai Qingqing thought that he would give up like this. Unexpectedly, Jasmine was even happier. That's okay. I'm so beautiful. And the male will not change his mind after that. Don't be afraid. See that Jasmine can justify herself. Bai Qingqing also gave up Jasmine. But he is still immersed in his own world. Oops at the thought of it. How can I get him to pursue me? Hurt Bai Qingqing went over and hurriedly pulled Jasmine. Tell him not to move. That's when Greenfur came running. Found Bai Qingqing. Shouting Bai Qingqing's name. Ha ha ha, you're here. Bai Qingqing asked. Is your house ready? Why did you come here? I randomly found an abandoned tree hole. It was a good stay. No need to build a house. At this time, Jasmine was nervous. I saw the male god standing beside him, but he couldn't stop trembling. Then he mustered up the courage to introduce himself to Green Fur. Are you called Alpha? My name is Jasmine. I'm a female who hasn't been dissected yet. The green horse was very cold at this time. I replied to one. After that, he immediately said to Bai Qingqing, Don't you like to eat nuts? I found a nut to eat nearby. Do you want to eat? I'll pick it up for you. Bai Qingqing, who didn't need it, saw Jasmine's appearance. I thought to myself that Jasmine must have misunderstood. Then he resolutely ran away and admonished Jasmine. Let her take the green fur to get acquainted with the familiar tribe. She's going back to making clothes, Jasmine said happily to Green Hair. She's going to take her to see the tribe. Females like to eat. The two of them started their own small abacus. Green Fur thought of it. Learned what females like to eat. You can please Bai Qingqing. Jasmine thought of it. Let the Green Fur know what he likes to eat. It is also convenient for her to pursue herself. Hey, I heard the sound of an abacus ping-pong in front of the screen. Bai Qingqing sat in the hollow of the tree. His green hair was wrapped under his new clothes. Pestered by Jasmine. It also saves yourself from this trouble and trouble. After a while, Bai Qingqing's new clothes were ready. Parker climbed up. Bai Qingqing showed off her new clothes. Parker is obsessed with Bai Qingqing's beauty again. Can't extricate yourself. And then I wanted to say something. Suddenly, a tiger roar was heard. It was the team that went out to exchange words for females that came back. Then he told Parker, "Get a good spot where you go to the bonfire. And let Curtis go with him." Curtis poked out under his head very. Many of the original orcs looked at the new orcs. Helpless looking. Chorus walked into the crowd with Bai Qingqing in his arms. I also looked into the distance curiously. Who the hell are the new females and males? What it looks like? At this time, a familiar face was seen in the crowd. He then whispered to Parker, "Isn't this the female of the Fox clan? The one Vincennes got in exchange." Parker also whispered that it was him. Bai Qingqing recalled the past. He remembered. The female and the male of the wolf clan are married. She also gave birth to a litter of wolf cubs. Now he has not seen wolf beasts and wolf cubs. Now the male next to him is Hay. It seems familiar too. Then he covered his mouth in shock. Think of the male who was next to the female. Isn't it the same Tony from before? Tony saw Bai Qingqing. Screamed. Looking at the hairstyle is not the main character. Bai Qingqing said hello awkwardly. Tony hasn't seen you for a long time. I didn't expect to meet him here. I thought that Tony had pursued himself before. He was later beaten away by Curtis. I didn't expect the two of them to come together today. It's unpredictable. It's hard to predict. The new females also recognized them. It's a few of you who are preparing to catch up. At this time, the Tiger King came over, calling out loudly to Qingqing. The fox female saw Vincent. I was shocked. It's him. After leaving Wanshou City, there is no shelter. I don't know how he's doing now. Vincent didn't care about the fox female. Went straight to Bai Qingqing. This made the fox female very disappointed. At this time, Vincent commanded the other orcs. Prepare a campfire dinner. New females are welcome. Bai Qingqing poked his head out and said to Vincent, "Yes, there are females here so soon." Vincent happily replied with a hymn. Let's go back to the tree hole first. There is only food in the evening. Good next episode. Bai Qingqing ushered in the second big makeover in history. Bai Qingqing was chatting with her 3 husbands in the tree hole. I learned from Vincent. The females of Wanshou City are all scattered because of the large number of females. And the male cannot be protected. It's not just some stray beasts. There are also small tribes that are extremely lacking in females. Attack it in groups. That's how down a lot of females died. And in order to ensure the safety of the female, the only king at that time, the Leopard King, that is, Parker's father. The two share the same face. Will be female. Scattered among more than 20 small tribes with good strength. At this point, Wanshou City was completely destroyed, and said that he was lucky to go out this time. Got 20 females. The tribe over there is very generous. 420 faces. Very generously, he sold Belle over. Bai Qingqing asked worriedly how the Leopard clan was doing. Vincent replied that they were all fine. This made Parker and Bai Qingqing immediately relieved. Vincent continued. The Leopard King should take the rest of his clan with him. A new tribe has been formed. At this time, Parker nodded and said that it was not bad. In the evening, the bonfire officially began. In a lively atmosphere. A few little leopards were also having a great time. The eyes of a small leopard. I was stunned by the scene in front of me. Leopard eyes become leopard eyes. It turned out to be his own mommy. Changed his outfit. Bai Qingqing was wearing newly made clothes. Appeared in front of everyone. The other orcs all smiled foolishly. Wow, so cute. It's beautiful. At this time, Parker and Vincent showed a fierce gaze. Unleashed his coercion. Shocked everyone. This scared the orcs away who were watching around. The cubs ran over happily. Oops, cubs. Bai Qingqing picked up the little cub. Bai Li suddenly stopped Bai Qingqing and asked. Bai Qingqing asked politely, "This is your child." Cub, Bai Qingqing asked without thinking. "Where's your wolf cub? Didn't you bring it out? It's really a pot that can't be opened." Barry turned her head away in frustration. Said sadly, "All of them are dead." Bai Qingqing was very shocked. Burley went on to say that because of the earthquake, both her cubs and her husband died. "If it weren't for Tony, I can't live on my own." Tony rejoiced that the earthquake was terrible. "Good thing you're gone." Hearing this, Bai Qingqing was very self-remorseful. "Why did you say such a thing just now? I should have asked if I had known." A thin man next to him said that the meat was roasted. Broke the embarrassment. Then everyone walked in the direction of the barbecue. The females are accompanied by their husbands. "Let's go to the barbecue place." Everyone sat around the fire in groups. Grilled meat, giggling, talking and laughing. At this time, Bai Qingqing raised his eyes and saw Becky in the distance. "Hey, that crazy woman." Paige. Slightly embarrassed, he nodded to Bai Qingqing. "It's kind of a greeting." Bai Qingqing recalled a smile. It's a big change to think of Paige. She and Ford finally completed their exchange in the Star Meadow. The whole person's temperament has also changed. Meet other outsiders. It doesn't seem to be as repulsive as it used to be. The previous experience is like a thing that has been left behind. Go with the wind. Although now in a crowded time, it's still inevitable to be nervous. But now, Becky, I have been able to restrain myself. The current Baiqing cavity, occupied by the literature of pain. Then I thought that it was always so easy to hurt. Can be cured, but it takes several times the effort, and time with no end in sight. Destruction, torment, madness, damage. Weak people always have nowhere to go, even if you are drowning in the quagmire, but also to drag innocent people and cherish grams. System guarding. Sacrifice those who have these. The view he saw. Weak people may not be able to see it for the rest of their lives. Everything will get better and better. It is in the green of the cypress. When you are immersed in your own literary style. The little leopard behind him lifted the corners of Bai Qingqing's clothes. Clear findings. It turned out to be clothes made of prey that he had caught. Happily spin in circles in place. I saw my third son, who was like dementia. Bai Qingqing smiled happily. Stroked the third child and said thank you. Mom loved it. Not for a while. Parker sent the roasted meat into Bai Qingqing's mouth. Well, I spit it out all of a sudden. It immediately caused Parker and Vincent to be nervous. Qingqing, what's wrong with you? I'm worried about whether I'm not doing well in the exam. Suddenly attracted by the sound of vomiting next to me, the two men looked at each other, awkwardly laughing. Then he explained to Bai Qingqing. Don't worry about that. Snatched by his roommate. Could it be that Bai Qingqing also has it? Hear this. Vincent and Parker took turns asking Bai Qingqing. What the hell is going on? Could it be because Vincent and Bai Qingqing are in the azure grass? That time, Bai Qingqing thought about it in her heart. I took a hard look at how I felt. It seems to be really pregnant. And combined with his relatives who have been counting the days recently, it seems that he is more sure of his suspicions. She must be pregnant. Bai Qingqing is pregnant. But I don't know who my father is. What can I do about it? Bai Qingqing screamed. Curtis heard Bai Qingqing screaming. Wow. Disappeared in an instant. He hurried to the place where Bai Qingqing was. Because the speed is just too fast. Set off a passing wind. Blow the surrounding orcs to the ground. There was only Bai Qingqing in his eyes. Bai Qingqing saw Curtis coming. Tell Curtis to take her home. Curtis picked up Bai Qingqing. Turn around and walk back. The orcs who had just been flipped to the ground. They all dodged away. Curtis asked with concern what was wrong with Bai Qingqing. Bai Qingqing sighed. I should have another baby. Vincent smiled and said that this was a good thing. Bai Qingqing thought bitterly. It's not a good thing to be too able to give birth. It's time to confess to Vincent. Then ask Parker to find it. There were other orcs around that didn't. Parker closed his eyes. I listened carefully. No other orc activity was found around. It should all be at the barbecue site. Haven't come back yet. Vincent thought worriedly. Need to look further afield. Bai Qingqing said no. Vincent never told you. Actually, I'm every month. You're going to have the ability to be in heat, so I can get pregnant all year round. After all that is said, Bai Qingqing's heart was very worried. Vincent, after knowing this, how do you see yourself? Do you feel weird? Vincent hesitated and said, then your race must be huge. Here's such an answer. Bai Qingqing snorted and laughed out loud, haha. That's true. Ha ha ha. Parker then said that this should be his own. Chris didn't look back. Said disdainfully. Quite good at dreaming. I don't think the situation is right. The two are about to pinch again. They all feel that Bai Qingqing's baby is their own. Hey, it's arguing again. At this time, Vincent walked over to Qingqing. Are you hungry or not? I'm a little hungry. Then I thought to myself, Vincent didn't care. Could that child be his own? But Vincent's eyes betrayed his heart. In fact, Vincent is definitely very concerned about this baby. The two argued for a while, found that Bai Qingqing did not come to stop it. Turning his head to look, he saw Vincent taking advantage of the situation. The two tacitly agreed. Stop bickering. Bai Qingqing said at this time that he didn't eat sheep. Anything else is fine. Fatter ones are fine. Parker said the snake beast. You go hunt for prey. I'll cook meat for Qingqing. Chris said, can you protect Xiaobai? Vincent interjected, I'll go. Then Curtis and Parker said yes in unison. You go. These two are real dogs. After breaking Vincent's apart, they all stood by Bai Qingqing's side. Bai Qingqing proposed to invite everyone to enjoy the moon at this time. The Curtis newcomer agreed to go. Moon. Then Curtis hugged Bai Qingqing without shame, completely ignoring Parker in the back. Parker is like a light bulb. Miserable followed. Came to the wild. Bai Qingqing looked at the big moon. It's beautiful. Then the little cubs began to whine again. Everyone turned their heads to look. Why are you so excited today? Do you know that moms have babies? Parker explained. These cubs have long been able to understand the language of beasts. Then Bai Qingqing thought about it. It was also born by himself. It's definitely the kind that transforms. Then he asked what the little cub was talking about. Parker acts as a translator. Selfishly think of them. It must be a little leopard in the mother's belly. The little cubs nodded vigorously. That's when Curtis turned his head. Unleash your coercion. The little cub shook his head in fright. Bai Qingqing didn't see Curtis's terrifying expression. Asked about Parker. What did the little cub say again? Parker heard this and threw the cub aside. It's nothing. Then complained in his heart about the spineless, stinky cub. It was said that the mother was in the belly of a snake beast. It didn't come out for a while. Parker's ears twitched. Voices were heard. Happily said that the food was coming. Then it went. Vincent helped me get it. Qingqing only likes the meat I roast. Bai Qingqing looked at her three husbands. Handle food together. Watch the three little cubs play happily together. Such a scenario. Such a living environment. Made Bai Qingqing feel the existence of home for the first time. He only hoped for such peaceful days. Able to go on forever. After a while, the crowd began to eat barbecue. Bai Qingqing looked over Parker and looked at Vincent. And asked Vincent, the poison before still has no effect. There are no seizures these days. Vincent grunted and swallowed a mouthful of meat. Replied yes. I didn't come back from the beach and didn't have another seizure. Well, Parker was jealous when he heard this. It's just a poison. It also worries Qingqing. That's when Parker noticed. There had been a figure hiding behind the woods. Asked loudly, "Who is it?" Bai Qingqing and her 3 husbands. Barbecue in the forest. But an uninvited guest came from deep in the woods. After being discovered by Parker, only then did the people who were hiding in the woods slowly come out. Oh, it turned out to be Blue Hair. Blue Fur walked over with a ball. Qingqing saw another fellow practitioner walk out. Several people were angry. Only Bai Qingqing is the happiest. Blue Miranzer. Where have you been? I haven't seen you lately. What is this? Bai Qingqing asked curiously as she looked at the ball. Blue Horse explained. This is what he went back to the sea to find. Bai Qingqing reached out and touched it. I thought it would burst as soon as it was poked, just like the previous bubbles. I didn't expect that no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't break it. Complained about how this ball is hard. Blue Fur said with a smile. Inch female. It's filled with water. I secrete something else to set the bubbles. Otherwise, it can't be installed. Wow, what a fish. Do you want to raise them? Damn explained. This is clear. Jeyu Bai Qingqing immediately thought of it. When I first saw the advertisement, I've always wanted to try cleaning fish. Because in modern times, there is a bathhouse where you can soak and clean fish. Look at so many small and cute fish. Bai Qingqing was also very happy. Then he said, such small fish can peck at parasites on large fish. Blue Fur wondered. As a land female, the white green. How do you know this knowledge? I was asked. Bai Qingqing was stunned for a moment. Then Lan Mao also helped him justify himself and said, Jean told you. Yes, that's right. I knew it. Let's go to the puddle. Lan Mao just took Bai Qingqing's hand, and I saw the jungle not far away. There was a commotion. Bai Qingqing said that there are many new females in the tribe, are all fighting for the right to mate. Ask Blue Fur if she wants to go. It's not done yet, Blue Fur said. Hearing this, Lan Mao was very angry. At this time, Parker called Bai Qingqing too late. Hurry back. Lan Mao saw that Bai Qingqing was leaving. Said to Bai Qingqing that he could go to the puddle tomorrow to play with him. Then he grabbed a handful of bring. Blink's glowing beads are given to Bai Qingqing. Bai Qingqing was very excited to see the glowing beads. If you like, you can do it. I'll go back to the puddle first. You remember to come. Bye. The orangutans were very happy to see the glowing beads. Look. We put this thing in the hollow of the tree. I can see things when it's dark. Parker said. If it's on all the time, won't you be able to sleep? Vincent was also worried if there was light in the cave. Will attract other insects. Or some nocturnal predators. It's not safe. Hearing this, Bai Qingqing was like a deflated ball. That's when Vincent said, I have a solution. Then he picked up some wood on the ground. Vincent, what are you doing? I set the beads in. When the wood is used, it is hung on the wall. Hide it when you're not using it. Saw that Vincent stole the limelight again. Parker was jealous again. I can do it for you too. The first glow stick in ancient times. And so it was made. Vincent holds the glowing beads. Clicked into the wood. Follow this method. Not for a while. A lot of glowing maces were made. Glow sticks. The night was getting deeper. Bai Qingqing was so sleepy. Lying in Curtis's arms, he fell asleep. Curtis thoughtfully helped Bai Qingqing cover the quilt. I went to sleep with peace of mind. Early the next morning, Bai Qingqing yawned. Look up. That bead is still glowing. The thought of these maces glowing all the time. It can be regarded as the freedom of electricity. Oh no. It's free to run out of light. That's when it happened. Curtis walked over. Hugged Bai Qingqing from behind. Bai Qingqing complained that the sun was drying her buttocks. Don't call yourself anything. Curtis is back that you have cubs. Get more sleep. Come to think of this. Bai Qingqing immediately thought that she had a child. My relatives can go back to work for a few months. It's good at this time. Someone downstairs suddenly called Bai Qianqian. You come out. I have something to tell you. Bai Qing at this time. Bai Qianqian walked to the window. Said wait for me. Hurry up. Bai Qianqian came under the tree. The two chatted and gossiped together. Bai Qianqian looked at him. With an excited face on his face, he told about him and Alva. I thought to myself that this girl is really stupid and sweet. At this time, silly Bai Tian suddenly said to Bai Qianqian, by the way, you seem to have children. Wow, that's amazing. Bai Qingqing also comforted him. Don't worry. Wait until the tribe is big. You pick and choose. By the way, the blue fur brought clean fish from the sea. I'll show you there. Let's go. I think of the last experience. The little girl was so frightened that she hid behind a tree. Go on your own. I'll go to the day. The grass plate. I'll make an appointment next time. The little girl ran away. Bai Qingqing, who was left behind, was alone and puzzled. That's when Curtis walked over. Asked if you want to go to the pool. I'll go with you. Chris took Bai Qingqing to the side of the pond. Bai Qingqing stretched out the soles of her feet and probed them in the water. The temperature is just right. Then he ran backwards. A buffered distance is freed up. Suddenly swooped around. Knox stomped on the ground. A relay. He jumped into the water. This scared Curtis out of the way. Bai Qingqing, who jumped into the water, greeted Curtis. Let's play first. Curtis sighed. Bai Qingqing sighed that it was really comfortable in the water. No wonder Blue Fur said he would soak in water for the rest of his life. Bai Qingqing was enjoying it with her eyes closed. Suddenly, the tip of his nose popped up. Curtis's. The curious Bai Qingqing reached out and grabbed it. Suddenly, there was a surge in the water. There was a bang. It turned out to be Curtis's tail. Dragged Bai Qingqing up. Curtis is about to let me down. At this moment, the blue fur appeared from behind. He had a ball in his hand. Then stick out your fingernails. Boom. Boom. The ball burst. The small fish in the ball flowed out with a bang. Bai Qingqing was very happy to see the little cleaning fish, and worry about whether those fish will run away. Bluefur explains that these fish are very close to people. There will be no escape. Look at the cute little fish. Bai Qingqing pursed her mouth. Blow into the water. Curtis is also worried that the little fish will escape. So he stretched out his head and tail and surrounded the little fish. Bai Qingqing was worried that these fish were brought in by the seawater. Will it not adapt to fresh water? Bluefur explained, not to worry. You can adapt to it. How can you feed so much? Bai Qingqing put his hand into the water. The little silverfish gently gnawed on Bai Qingqing's fingers. Bai Qingqing shivered with enjoyment. Hey! I saw Bai Qingqing with a look of enjoyment. Lon Mauer couldn't hold back a wicked laugh. Then Bai Qingqing asked again. These small fish can adapt to fresh water. Why put them in a ball? Blue Cat explained. Because if you put it in fresh water, these fish are too small. It will be used as food by other large fish. Take a bite down, whimper, and ate it. After listening, Bai Qingqing held up a small fish. Our Lady said you have to live well. Don't get eaten. Bai Qingqing rode a big snake in circles in the water. Enjoy the small fish gnawing on the dead skin on their feet. Oops, it's so comfortable. Then, the lazy cat mentioned that Bai Qingqing didn't want to clean his teeth. Let Bai Qingqing open his mouth. Put the fish that have gnawed on the skin of his feet into his mouth. This knocked over Curtis's vinegar jar as well. Suddenly, a burst of coercion was released. Poof, the ball breaks. There was no way. Bai Qingqing had to put his mouth in the water. Grunt, grunt. Saw Bai Qingqing with his help. Teeth can finally be cleaned. Blue Fur snickered happily. The serpent Curtis transforms into a human form. Bai Qingqing raised his head and asked Curtis. Curtis, you see if my teeth are white. Curtis saw Bai Qingqing's bright smile. Suddenly, I was caught off guard and kissed it. Tweet this pro. made Bai Qingqing stunned. After kissing, Curtis stroked his lips and said yes. It's delicious. Bai Qingqing was stunned. What are you doing? There are outsiders out there. You, me. Curtis was not afraid. It was still very sweet to continue to say provocatively. You lick your hands, you don't wash your hands. You don't pay attention to hygiene. You said as you were dirty, while shyly running away. Watched Bai Qingqing run away shyly. Curtis faced. Aunt laughed. The blue hair here skimmed his head. There's a little bit of loss. Bai Qingqing turned around and scolded Curtis. As he walked forward, he accidentally bumped into Vincent. Are you okay? Thought you saw me. I saw edible grass on the road. I'll bring it back to you. Bai Qingqing fixed his eyes. Wow, this is spinach. Thank you for my cuteness eating this. If you like it, it's fine. Then he picked up the leaves and chewed them. Cluck, cluck, cluck. Then he asked Vincent, is the topographic survey going well? Well, you can basically determine the map of the city. You want to check it out. Bai Qingqing was a little hesitant in her heart. He was afraid that he would attract the Scorpion clan. Terrible orcs. Vincent was still waiting for Bai Qingqing's answer. Because there is a gift prepared by Vincent for Bai Qingqing. He was afraid that Bai Qingqing would refuse. At this time, after some mental struggle, Bai Qingqing said happily, when are we going? The words are not finished yet. Vincent snorted, carried Bai Qingqing on his shoulders now. Vincent walked in the forest with Bai Qingqing on his shoulder. The last time he was held like this, it was Chris. Bai Qingqing who was held. He was very uneasy and embarrassed. It's smoother to hold like this. Well, what about Parker? He told the leopard cub to hunt. Oh, Bai Qingqing looked up. In front of it is a large meadow of celestial stars. Vincent said, the wall will be built from the edge of the stargrass. This clearing flowed out to the young orcs. Bai Qingqing listened to the sea of azure grass and flowers. Just know what it means. Immediately blushed. Subsequently, Vincent carried Bai Qingqing to another place. Introduced them to him one by one. After a while, the two of them came to a large clearing. Vincent intends to be here. Build a castle for Bai Qingqing. Bai Qingqing's heart fluttered after hearing this. Straight for me. Vincent heard. Turning his head shyly, he said, now start preparing. And so the city began to be built. The castle should be finished. It's good that I live in a tree hole. This open space was reserved as a meeting place. It's okay. Vincent suddenly sank. Said, but I want to give you the best one. Let's go back and talk to Parker. He should come to help. At this point, Vincent held out his hand. Touched Bai Qingqing's head. He rubbed it and turned around and walked away. Bai Qingqing turned his head to see Vincent's departing back. Blushed. Parker didn't see Bai Qingqing for a few minutes. Poke your head around and look around. Where did Qingqing go? I can't find it. As soon as he turned his head, he saw Vincent carrying Bai Qingqing. Walked slowly towards him. I saw the two talking and laughing. Walked over like a real couple. Parker's eyes were frightened again. Bai Qingqing went out with Vincent Lang. Vincent noticed the way Parker looked at him, and gritted his teeth and rushed over. Vincent gently, slowly put Bai Qingqing on the ground. At this moment, Parker swooped over, leaped into the air, grabbed it with a move towards Vincent. Vincent didn't lift his eyelids. Reach out and snap your hand. He grabbed Parker by the neck. With a thud, Parker was pinned to the ground. With a thud, he slammed his head into the dirt. Parker was instantly defeated, was pinched by the neck. The action just now happened in an instant. Only then did Bai Qingqing react. The two were fighting. Parker is clearly at a disadvantage. Vincent rode on top of him. At this time, Bai Qingqing's back suddenly slammed. Boom rushed out of 3 leopard shadows. Just like Parker. Suddenly, he jumped up, pounced on Vincent. A bite of a meal. Vincent felt a little itchy on his body. He looked in a cold sweat. Wow, What are these little leopards doing? Tickle your third father. At this time, Parker, who was pressed under him, also found out. Little cubs. Although he was ridden on the ground by Vincent, pressed the neck, but he still turned his head with difficulty, loudly yelling at the cubs. The cubs heard Parker scolding. Suddenly it was like a deflated ball. The last few leopards scattered in all directions. At the time of walking towards the white-green-green, don't forget to look back and see how Parker is doing now. Who knew that Bai Qingqing was angry at this time? Suddenly shouted out to the three of you. Boom, boom. And then it was on the heads of the little cubs. It's been hammered all the time. The beating cubs whined. And teach the little cubs to be disobedient. Do not bite your own family. Don't know. The white-dressed gentleman here continues to teach the little cubs a lesson. And Parker and Vincent are on their side. There is no intention of stopping. The two of them are on the bar. Parker let out a roar. Vincent was also transformed into a beast. Okay, phew. It can't be like this anymore. You know. Vincent and Parker here hit another shot. Why are you fighting again? Humph, I don't care about you. I really can't control you. Go ahead. Cubs, let's go. Then, Bai Qingqing hit Parker on the head again. As far as you like to fight. Can you stop the point? Transform and show me. Parker pretended not to hear. Turn your head to the side. You dare to play dumb with me. I'm hungry. Parker hears Bai Qingqing hungry. He turned around and ran up the tree, frolicking in the trees for a while. Suddenly he turned into a human form, fell to the ground. Qingqing, what you want to eat? I want to eat white and green and take a look. The scene in front of him made him feel distressed. Look at Parker's scars from the fight. Bai Qingqing was also distressed for a while. Parker couldn't take care of so much of his own youth. When he was hungry, he asked Mr. Hua to cook for Bai Qingqing. Parker's eyes looked at Bai Qingqing. Found that Bai Qingqing didn't look at herself, just looking down and thinking about something. In fact, Parker is quite innocent. 3 husbands inside. He was the first to meet Bai Qingqing, and now he has become a burden to Bai Qingqing. Is the weakest of the 3 husbands. In fact, Parker also has a little inferiority complex in his heart. He was afraid that Bai Qingqing would dislike his weak strength. I also made up my mind in my own heart. Be sure to improve your strength. After this psychological struggle, Parker returned to his smile. Turning his head to Bai Qingqing, he asked Qingqing, "Shall I give you a barbecue?" Bai Qingqing suddenly shouted, "What are you cooking?" "I just lay down. I'll do it myself." When I reach out and push Parker, accidentally touched Parker's wound. Bai Qingqing was also taken aback. "It's okay, I don't hurt." Parker's back was also found covered in scars. Bai Qingqing said that he would not eat it. "I'll give you a need first. Rub Parker and listen." Suddenly came the spirit. Quickly lay on the ground. "Qingqing, I'm lying down. You rub it." Bai Qingqing suddenly felt that he had been fooled. "Hey, forget it. Let's rub him first." After a while, there was a scream from the grassland. It was Parker, the father of the little cubs. Since then, Parker and Vincent were on the bar. As soon as the two met, they began to fight. Cracking sound. In fact, it's a lot of praise for him. Of course, each time, it was the result of beating Parker half of his body. And Parker is also because of the long-term competition with the strong. Let their abilities have also been improved to a certain extent. Bai Qingqing, after knowing that she was pregnant, for myself and for my children. During this period, a meal of heavy eating. Look at my belly that is getting bigger. Bai Qingqing sighed. At this moment, Curtis suddenly rushed from behind. Dead to Bai Qingqing said, "Don't worry. It should be mine." That's when Curtis continued. If the cub notices, Bai Qingqing is not enough to provide for them. Growth is paused. It's still like this. How long can it be delayed? Months or years? Wait until you're ready to give birth to them. Curtis looked at Bai Qingqing. I thought so. If it's because the mother is too thin, the cubs may pause their growth. But there's a possibility. What is possible? You may be pregnant with a female. Is a baby female born human? Well, how long does it take to conceive a baby female? Almost a year. A year is too good. Finally, a baby can talk to me. Hey, wait. How can you tell? Blood and smell are different. Very recognizable. At this time, Parker stopped Bai Qingqing from behind. And bring the boiled fish soup. Bai Qingqing leaned his nose over. I spit it out. I'm sorry for all of you who are eating. Hey, if you're on the toilet. When I didn't say. Bai Qingqing wanted to vomit when he smelled the fish. Although I would love to eat it. But I can't stand the smell of it. Curtis asked. What you want to eat? I want to look for fish, and I still wanted to eat fish. You see, you want to eat fish so much. Parker heard. Ah yes. Qingqing likes to eat fish. It's definitely my grapefruit who loves me. This is going to be a pot again. Bai Qingqing said to Curtis. I want to eat spicy fish. Hot and sour fish. Chris said. You can also go to the mountains to find out if there are any red tips. As for the sour ones, you can put some unripe fruit. That's okay too. Okay, as long as it's sour. Okay, this is easy to find. I'll look for it for a while. Chris came back with the sour fruit. He also said that he didn't find the red tip. That is, chili peppers. But he found the plant. I also brought back some sour fruit. Bai Qingqing decided. Fish stew with oranges that are not yet ripe. Not for a while. There was a gurgling sound in the pot. Ah, what a smell. Does it taste good? Parker lifts the lid. I saw a strange feeling coming from the pot. Strange smell and weird color. Well, I'll try it first. It tastes weird. Delicious, yes. This is the taste of a mixture of fish and fruit. It's hard to put into words. It's hard to eat. Don't eat it. Oops, I'm so hungry. I'll give you a stew to eat first. Well, okay. I don't care if I want to eat fish. I want braised fish. Helplessly, Parker started to fish again. Curtis turned back again to look for ingredients. That's when Vincent walked over. I saw Parker make a lot of bowls of fish for Bai Qingqing. Confused, Parker said. I didn't make the fish that Bai Qingqing wanted to eat, because I hate that these fish are too fishy. Vincent walked over and sat down. Pick up a bowl of fish soup. Grunt and swallow it. Bai Qingqing is for his unborn child. Sewing clothes. I thought that the cold season was coming soon. Prepare some clothes. There was a creaking sound behind him. It turned out that Vincent had jumped on top of the tree hollow. Qingqing, Vincent. You've been eating fish lately. Well, I'm sorry. You've eaten so many strange fish. I love to eat fish. At this time, nonsense suddenly came from behind the two. Our favorite thing to eat is fish. It turned out that Parker had also jumped up. The explosion must be mine. You're both felines. Parker said to Bai Qingqing as if to take credit. Qingqing, my clothes are all wet. Vincent asked Bai Qingqing in surprise. Cubum. I just found out today. The cubs are pregnant for almost a year. Now the belly is supposed to be a female cub. Parker continued to stand on the wall. Mine for sure. Vincent smiled. There was no argument with him. Looking at Bai Qingqing's belly, calmly replied, well, it must be a mob. The female Parker was surprised. Why is this guy so weird? Ignore Qingqing. Today I'm going to catch big fish. My sister wants to eat a big fish head. The big fish head is definitely delicious. That's enough for you to eat. Well, see. By Qianqian's appearance, Vincent's excitement was there. I was very happy until the next day. Bai Qingqing sat next to the grass and waited for Parker. At this time, his 3 cubs stood by the side. Oh, I really want to eat fish. Look down. 3 little cubs of their own. They stood in 3 different directions. I didn't sit upright. Be vigilant. It seems to be guarding Bai Qingqing's safety. Bai Qingqing got up and walked a few steps to the side. Roundabout again. I found that the cubs were still in the same formation. Running around, followed by Qingqing. Only then did I know that they were really protecting themselves. Oops, the little cub is so cute. Why don't you stink anymore? Like a few days ago, My mother was stupefied by you, mentioned the sad third child. With a whimper, he ran away. At this time the white star was overhead. Suddenly, there was a cooing sound. Look up. It turned out to be a peacock. Wow, it's gorgeous. Ha Qingqing finally noticed my wonderful figure. Coo 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 coo. The narcissistic peacock accidentally crashes into a branch. It fell to the ground and plunged into the dirt. This action made Bai Qingqing laugh. Immediately came out of the woods. Qingqing heard that you have cubs. Is it true? Why? I think Qingqing is so beautiful that she doesn't even have a belly. The skin as white as snow is slightly raised, like a rare rolling snow-capped mountain bag. What should be the reason for the female? Ah, hens. I heard it was a hen. I was taken aback immediately. Green hair at this time. Only then did I remember what my father had said before. Don't listen to the old man. The loss is in front of you. His father used to say that. Bai Qingqing's ability to get pregnant is very strong. If you can be a partner with him, it is possible that this baby is your own. He imagined it. Has already hugged their own children with Bai Qingqing. Alva. At this time, Bai Qingqing shouted the name of the green hair. Gently wake him up. The green hair that came back to his senses from the crookedness. Look up at Bai Qingqing. By the way, I'm here to bring you food. I don't want my partner to have gone looking for something to eat. Just take it. Not really. At this time, Jasmine ran over Qingqing. The second baby has seen you from afar. Hey, what's in your hand? The flame fruit has really been found. Here the flame fruit. Bai Qingqing's imagination is also very rich. Like a fruit that breathes flames. That's when Jasmine explained. This fruit can only be found in the desert. And the hotter the weather, the better. And it is said that female eating can promote estrus. This made Bai Qingqing speechless for a while. Can Alva give me one? At this time, the green hair only looked at Bai Qingqing and said Qingqing throughout the whole process. It's all for you. Seeing such an incomprehensible green hair, Bai Qingqing was very surprised. The green hair is very proud. It's all in Jasmine's eyes. I suddenly felt very suspicious, and said Qingqing in frustration. There are already cubs. Can you give me one? At this time, the affectionate green fur turned his head, gently said to Jasmine no. Jasmine hears this, trembling with anger, eyes with tears. The green hair urged Bai Qingqing to take it quickly. It's a hot potato. How dare Bai Qingqing take it? Jasmine, who was angry at this time, he threw the flower in his hand to the ground. He turned around and ran out. Bai Qingqing shouted loudly to Jasmine. Seeing that Jasmine ignored herself, when he turned around, he blamed the green hair. It's said that I don't want your things. Jasmine is my best friend, the best sister. She was angry. I'll ignore you anymore, huh? After a meal of output, Green Fur began to panic. Well, I'll just give it to him. Don't ignore me. I'll go and give it to him now. Bai Qingqing saw it. The running green-haired prayed in his heart. Hopefully Jasmine doesn't blame herself. That's when Vincent came from behind. Asked if the green hair was harassing Bai Qingqing. Bai Qingqing said no. Wow, what a big rain fish. How long will they have to eat? Vincent didn't surprise Bai Qingqing. I was thinking about it. Arrange other jobs for this green hair. In this way, Bai Qingqing cannot be harassed. Then he took Bai Qingqing to kill fish together. Next to the water snake, Vincent and Bai Qingqing prepared to kill the fish together. Vincent's hand fell. The head of the fish was chopped off with a single click. Ah, how do you eat such a big fish? Hey, there it has. He then proposed to Vincent to make fish balls. Vincent didn't know how to do it though. I immediately agreed. Bai Qingqing then said, yes. When I got back, I told them how to do it. Let him do it with Parker. Vincent stared at Bai Qingqing's face and said, yes. Then I simply cleaned up the fish and brought back to the tribe. Bai Qingqing said to Parker how to make fish balls. Break the meat first. Puree the meat. Then pinch into a circle. Parker, who knew the method, was full of energy. I'll steam the fish head first. So a few people began to act. Vincent picked up the fish balls and kneaded them. Hold the fish balls high. It slapped on the table with a click. The whole thing is a close-up of making food. After a while, Vincent was tired of slapping. Where to rest? Bai Qingqing, who was supervising the work on the side. Look at Vincent's serious work. Very handsome. In his eyes, it was like having close-ups and slow motion. Looking at the handsome and compelling Vincent, provoked Bai Qingqing to blush. Cover your mouth quickly. Keep your saliva from falling out. Ah, Vincent is so handsome. This made Parker next to him full of vinegar. Quickly moved his little head. Played a small calculation. The pan then lifts the lid a little through the cracks. Holding the lid of the pot fanned the smell. Let the fragrance from the pot waft into Bai Qingqing's nose. And it worked. Bai Qingqing smelled the fragrance in the pot. I looked over in surprise in an instant. Qingqing, do you want to try it first? Wait until Bai Qingqing ran over. Parker took the opportunity to open the lid. It looks delicious. The fragrance is not greasy either. Parker blew thoughtfully. The fish was put into Bai Qingqing's mouth. Bai Qingqing swallowed it in one bite. Well, how's that? It's delicious, and I'm very happy to see Bai Qingqing. Parker was even happier. Bai Qingqing finally ate what he liked. She had more favorite food than she did. And rejoice. Perhaps this is Parker's humble love. High-end ingredients. Often, only the simplest cooking methods are required. Vincent added garlic to the fish. Stir and mix. After a while, I smelled the aroma. It looks delicious. Parker swallowed. Bai Qingqing laughed at Parker's saliva. But he didn't see his 3 cubs. Whimpering beside him. Gluttony doesn't work. In fact, Bai Qingqing couldn't hold it back. Do you want to eat a piece? Let's try it first. Parker then reached out and fished out a piece of it. Handed it to Bai Qingqing. Bai Qingqing didn't reach out to take it. Instead, he opened his mouth and swallowed it. This sultry action made Parker blush and heartbeat. Bai Qingqing sighed that the taste was awesome. Vincent is even better. Bai Qingqing and Parker ate and admired while eating. Only Vincent was silent. At this point, the little cub's claws are clawed at the barrel. There was a sizzling sound. It's very harsh. At this time, Bai Qingqing remembered the existence of the cubs. I wanted to get some food for the cubs. But I can't reach it. Later, Parker suggested that it should be himself. Come on, and in a moment the food will be taken out. Placed on the leaves. Feed your own pups like puppies. Well, it's so fragrant. Got something delicious. Bai Qingqing remembered that Curtis hadn't eaten it yet. I thought Curtis would get him one more time when he returned. Felines. Got fish. Very satisfied. That's when Parker said he wanted to eat every day. But because there is a lot of salt in it. So Bai Qingqing clearly refused. Can't eat too much. This stuff can't be used as a staple food. It's not good to eat too much salt. Parker proposed. Next time you can use this fish to make sashimi. Croak. Croak. The two chatted like this. In the case of limited conditions, use a stone pot to make the fish broth. It's also a great way to do it. Wait until the water in the stone pot is boiling. Add the ingredients. Cracking sound. Grunt, grunt. Wait until the fish float. Bai Qingqing immediately fished out a piece and put it in his mouth. It's hot. This frightened his 2 husbands. Qingqing. Oh, delicious. It's okay to see Bai Qingqing. The 2 looked at each other. Ignore each other. Then, a few of them tasted it. The fruits of their own labor today. Well, not bad. Vincent eats fish balls. But the people of the clan are in mind. How to solve the food problem. There are a lot of fish in the water. If you can make all the people eat fish balls, there should be no shortage of food. After you have eaten and drunk to your heart's content, Bai Qingqing suggested going out to play. Parker told Bai Qingqing to sleep when he was full. Bai Qingqing said that he was going to find 2 bamboo tubes. They ran away. Bai Qingqing uses a bamboo tube to hold fish balls. said to bring some to Jasmine and Becky. After it is installed, Bai Qingqing went to find Becky and Ford first. Ford said he had actually smelled it for a long time. Bai Qingqing asked him why he didn't come to us. Oops, I don't. Sorry. It's not that Becky is too clingy to me. I'm not allowed to leave half a step. Otherwise, I would have gone and stole the corpse. As soon as I heard that I was leaving, Becky quickly hugged Ford tightly. Okay, I'm not leaving. Except for hunting. I'm not going anywhere. At this time, the two looked at Bai Qingqing's belly. Becky suddenly shouted loudly that it was this boy. Bai Qingqing also clutched her stomach expectantly. Said seems to be. I still have something. I won't bother. Then he handed the fish balls to the two. Then he left happily. Seeing that Becky finally has a more stable home, Bai Qingqing was also very pleased. In the blink of an eye, Bai Qingqing came to find Jasmine again. Jasmine. Hey! No one responded. Is Jasmine angry? Suddenly, behind him, a flame fruit flew over. Hit Bai Qingqing's body. Turned to look at Jasmine. Jasmine suddenly appears behind the book again. Said that it was given to you by the flame fruit. Thinking of Jasmine, he was really angry. Bai Qingqing's head was big for a while. Then he turned and bent down to pick up the flame fruit. Discover how hard this flame fruit is. I shook it in my hand. It's like a flame. At this time, hundreds of thousands of people, in order to break the embarrassment, walked over with the flame fruit. Have you eaten it? Yo got angry. Humph, I'm not uncommon with those males. Bai Qingqing thought. Both males that Jasmine likes like themselves. Looks like we have to help him. Subsequently, just talk to Jasmine. Green hair is actually a face control. At the time, she was still pregnant. The face is dirty. Pressed into the water by the green fur. Pawn. When the green hair saw the clean white green on his face, suddenly changed attitudes. This green hair is a face control. Jasmine heard. His good sister was once pressed into the water by the green hair. And she was pregnant with a cub at the time. It's so hateful. It's too much. I've never seen anything like it. She gave me all the flame fruits. I'll give you half of it. Then he stood up and ran over angrily. Say, I'll go and get justice for you. See how things turn out. I don't want to. Why is this Jasmine still on the bar? Oh, maybe it's a happy couple. Hey, didn't you persuade you? Subsequently, Bai Qingqing left the fish ball and flame fruit in place. Alone and happily returned home. Green fur helps Bai Qingqing pick fruit under the tree. The thought of one day will always move him. At this time, an angry Jasmine rushed over, shouting out the name of the green hair. Green-haired turned his head to look, why are you? I'll have to say it a few times before you understand. What I like is seeing the green fur talking to himself. Jasmine's tone changed sharply. What's wrong with you? Why did you suddenly turn blue? At this time, Vincent also walked over. Green fur worries that Vincent has come for trouble. Timidly asked, yes. Is there anything wrong with the Tiger King? The tribe will set off for the second time tomorrow to change females. I would like to arrange for you to join, but you can say no. But the tribe does not raise idlers. Then a dashing turn. As he walked, he said that he would follow the arrangement and leave. Green fur gritted his teeth in anger. But there is nothing to be done. He can't beat it. The scene cuts to Curtis. Curtis returned to the place where he had buried his things. Pull out what was buried in the ground. See the flour inside. The wheat and millet are all good. Curtis also breathed a sigh of relief. Then I went back with my things. At this time, there was a loud roar from the forest. Bai Qingqing, who heard this roar, was very happy. There seems to be a happy event in the tribe of Tak. Let's go and see the excitement together. At this time, Parker was still asleep. Bai Qingqing walked over and grabbed Parker's ear. Softly whispered to Parker and said, "Get up." Parker, who heard the voice, suddenly snorted angrily. Shame comes from it. Bai Qingqing, who was questioning with a flushed face. Male's ears cannot be pinched. Don't you know? After a little temper tantrum, Parker was still hugging Bai Qingqing. Came to a crowded place. The peacock in the sky flew over with a clatter. The tiger on the ground came over with a group of females. Bai Qingqing saw the new blood. Very happy. The tribe originally had about 24 males. Now it's more than doubled. Parker actually still has some worries in his heart. There are many males though. But now it depends on. There are only 2 people, Vincent and Curtis. If you were targeted by a stray tree, it's still enough for them to drink. Then, the tiger orcs let out another loud roar. Vincent walked over slowly. The man who saw himself was surrounded by the crowd. Very majestic. Bai Qingqing was also very happy. Tiger, 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 tiger. Each female rides a tiger under her crotch. This is the orc that was sent out before. Females exchanged for table salt. A Karami orc clattered and ran. Quickly rushed in front of Vincent. King, we're going well on our trip. All the females are brought back safely. Well done. Let's go down and get ready for dinner. Let's go down first. Rest well. It's after explaining what happened. Only then did Vincent find Bai Qingqing in the crowd. Vincent walked over happily. Let's squeeze back outside and rest. I'm going to see if it's all about the fun. So many females. It seems that every male in the tribe has a mate. Vincent, however, said not necessarily. And speaking of other small tribes in the vicinity, soon young males joined. When the time comes, it will still be the strong who wins. Ah, it suddenly hissed. A few people turned their heads to look. Came back so soon. Oh, I see. Curtis is back from a business trip. The white orangutan ran over. Curtis, haha. Curtis, you're finally back. Then, Curtis stretched out his head and tail and rolled Bai Qingqing up. It's as easy as a crane. Lifted Bai Qingqing up. With a snort, he threw it into his arms. Qingqing, I'm back. Your voice hasn't slept in days. In 3 days, you have to learn to combine work and rest. What do you dare to do? I can't help it. Because I miss you so much. Then Curtis tweeted. Covered Bai Qingqing's mouth with his own mouth, while the sugar is being sprinkled. Suddenly, Parker jumped up and said, Qingqing, here comes your flour. Do you want to eat noodles? As soon as the words were finished, Curtis, who is still in progress, turning to Parker. Now there are off-site spectators. Curtis worked harder. Here comes a French style. Tweet tweet boom. Heard coming out so violently. Bai Qingqing felt very ashamed. Why is Curtis's strength so great? But you always have to pay it back. Parker finally felt what Vincent had felt before. When I used to let Vincent guard the goal. I didn't think it would be today. Roar. Curtis's heartless performance in the hollow of the tree. Suddenly, there was another spectator behind him. Vincent scurried up. At this time, Parker was already angry. Vincent, who was standing in the back, had mixed feelings. Bai Qingqing, who felt that the atmosphere was wrong, suddenly stopped Curtis. Curtis, be careful, baby. Bai Qingqing gasped heavily. At this time, Curtis suddenly reacted. I'm so glad to see you. I've forgotten where the flour is. At this time, Parker said as if he was fine, on the first floor. Let's take a look. At this time, the people proposed first. Let Vincent catch a prey for Curtis to eat. Hey, the life of the spare tire. Thank you for your hard work. Vincent immediately, obediently swished. Jumped out. Parker also caught Bai Qingqing downstairs. Came underground. Bai Qingqing proposed to meet today. You can make some delicious food for everyone to eat. And said that there are not many tribesmen now. You can make some dumplings for everyone to eat. Finally night. The women gathered in groups and chatted. Twittering. Twittering. At this time, Vincent and Parker came over carrying a lot of dumplings. The women were talking about Bai Qingqing. Hey, is that him? It seems like yes. I heard someone talking about him. Bai Qingqing subconsciously turned his head. Say hello to them in a friendly way. Hello there. Lady Bai Qingqing. Could it be that Vincent guessed? Sure enough, yes. You are all from the city of longevity. Subsequently, Bai Qingqing asked if you were hungry. Yo, made of these flowers. I'll give it to you later. Every female has it. The women raised their eyes in unison. Keep your hands on your chest. Asked suspiciously. Flower last. The dumplings that had been in the pot for a while floated up. Seeing that the food was cooked, the little cubs couldn't hold it back. I've been hungry for food. Bai Qingqing hurriedly got them something to eat. The women looked at Bai Qingqing's newborn leopard cub. He looked at his stomach again. How did I get pregnant again? It can't be that there is another child. That's it. The women's intelligence station began to tick and tick the news. He seems to be pregnant again. I gave birth to several babies before. Now I'm pregnant again. It's really fake. I saw women talking like that. Bai Qingqing is irrefutable. It seems to be true. At this moment, a green-haired girl walked over. I said very admirably, "You are amazing." The women behind him began to echo as well. Yes, yes. It's really amazing. Haha, thanks for the compliment. At this time, Curtis called Bai Qingqing from behind. Come and sit down. The cooked dumplings are then served. In front of Bai Qingqing. Be careful. Subsequently, Parker threw a few more dumplings on the ground. Give it to your cubs. After that, he called many females to come along. Everyone was raving about the taste. At this moment, a woman took her mouth out of her busy schedule, said to Bai Qingqing that the money was bought. What about females? You mean Belle, right? There's that. The woman then asked if he was the only one. I remember several of them were bought. Hearing this, Vincent was not calm. Asked if there were any other tribes buying females. The news exploded through the crowd like thunder. A male orc asked, "Aren't you buying it?" Some time ago, the wolf clan suddenly went on vacation. 10 cans of salt per female. Such a low price. At that time, salt was in short supply. Our tribe sold 2 first. Otherwise, there will be no salt to eat. Your tribe produces 20 cans. The tribe sold my partner 2. It seems that we do have a competitor who can make a move. Plenty of salt. I don't know what it is. Thinking of Wanshou City, which was so prosperous at the beginning. If you go out with 100 jars of salt, you can only get 5 of them. At this time, an orc said that there were no dumplings. Call the Tiger King over. The blue fur in the water saw the Tiger King and walked away. See, the time is ripe. Was about to run over to find Bai Qingqing. I saw Bai Qingqing thinking about something with her head down. Didn't Qingqing hear me? Then he walked over. Qingqing poked Bai Qingqing with his finger. Qingqing, give me a little. Give me some to eat too. Oops, blue fur scared me. I thought something was poking me. Then he handed the dumplings to Blue Hair. Qingqing is the best. At this time, Vincent, who was busy at this time, turned his head to look at the mermaid. The blue fur, who was very satisfied just now. Instantly it felt like the atmosphere was wrong. Opened his eyes and looked at Vincent. The cake then reacted particularly violently, splashing with his own tail. Push back hard. Even the dumplings that Bai Qingqing gave herself were thrown on the ground. Blue fur is ready for battle. Bad was discovered. Seeing the blue hair, he was shocked. Bai Qingqing hurriedly persuaded him. Then you have something to say. Don't fight. See, it's so close. Blue fur fears that he will be slaughtered by the Tiger King. Is it too late to get into the water now? Vincent asked very calmly. Will you merfolk make friends with people on land? What do you mean? At this time, Bai Qingqing asked. Let Vincent sit down. Have a good chat with Blue Fur. Vincent then came up with his own conjecture. He suspects that the merfolk provide salt for free. Let the other tribes buy the females. Seeing that there is no danger to your life. Blue Fur also breathed a sigh of relief. He then explained to Vincent. Salt is not so easy to obtain, and their merfolk won't be so generous. Vincent thought of the more such words, the more dangerous. At this time, Bai Qingqing stopped Vincent. Speaking of which, the female Qing has returned to the mermaid clan. Although Curtis killed some merfolk, but due to their sheer number, there are still a lot of remnants. Then there must be a lot of salt. And in the first place, in order to find Qing, there are still many masters left on land. Vincent listened to Bai Qingqing's analysis. It makes sense, which makes me feel a lot more at ease. The lazy man here is very satisfied with eating dumplings. Well, it's delicious, but dumplings. Then the patriarch stood up. Shout out to the young warriors. On this occasion of celebration, it's time to start the challenge. I have nothing to do when I am full. Have a fight to cheer everyone up. Bai Qingqing saw that the scene of the fight was very cruel. It's a bit unbearable. Propose to go to the bunker to play. Let Parker send him off. Go to San to see the back of the two leaving. Secretly worried about their safety. After a while, the two of them walked into the depths of the jungle. Parker quietly hid. The top of the eerie woods. Bai Qingqing didn't see Parker's figure below. Parker, where are you? Then, Parker smacked his tail down. Startled by Qingqing. Parker, you scared me. How did you run to the tree? At this time, Bai Qingqing took a look. Grab Parker's tail and get you down. Parker's tail is pulled. Suddenly that thing got on the brain. Whoosh jumped down from the tree. He screamed twice and ran out. Parker, who had walked away, finally calmed himself down. Well, luckily, Parker quickly covered himself, desperately restraining himself. Bai Qingqing chased after Parker. I don't want to touch my tail. Parker smirked. He turned around and said yes. Who will use their own mouths? Cover Bai Qingqing's mouth. You found it yourself. What to find the door? Tweet. Parker immediately banned Bai Qingqing. Gagged him. Wait a minute, that's what you mean. It's just that Parker carried Bai Qingqing to a tree hole. Syllable. Curtis didn't control himself before. Was stopped by Bai Qingqing. At this time, Parker couldn't control himself. Quickly made an excuse. Said. In this way, the vitality of their cubs will be stronger. Bai Qingqing hurriedly stopped the nonsense. Parker excitedly said it was true. Don't believe me? Ask Vincent in the back. Vincent was heard behind again. Bai Qingqing also asked curiously, is what he said true? Vincent replied in the affirmative. See, I didn't lie to you. Now with this cub it's more stable. And what? At this time, Parker didn't care about Sanchi. Oh my god, what can I do? This thing. Oh, every day. I saw that the situation was out of control. Vincent hurriedly said that it was better to go into the cave. I'll keep it for you. Parker turned around and said, you have a point. Qingqing grasped it. Let's go into the hole. Then Parker hooked Bai Qingqing. Hurriedly rushed to the tree. Whizzed up the tree. I saw Parker hooking Bai Qingqing up to the tree hole. Vincent looked out from afar under the tree. Gulp swallowed a mouthful of saliva. The bleak wind slowly drifted down with the fallen leaves. It's like Vincent's heart is very depressed at the moment. The atmosphere seems to be wrong. Vincent turned his head to look. The surroundings are very quiet. The silence is terrible. Suddenly there was a sass. Something rushed over. It could be other orcs robbing females. Although Vincent was worried before, but I didn't expect it to come so quickly. Suddenly, Vincent let out a loud roar. Parker is still working. Suddenly, Vincent's warning yells were heard. Immediately stopped the movement of his legs. What's the matter? Parker said. The tribe was attacked. Then you hurry up and help. You go to Chris's side. Don't leave. Everybody is together again. You have to be safe. Although Parker would love to promise Bai Qingqing, be mindful of your own safety. But in order to protect the safety of Bai Qingqing, he has to give it his all. For their own safety, he really couldn't guarantee it. Parker and Bai Qingqing then separated. Quickly went to the battlefield. Bai Qingqing went down to the tree hole. Found the place where Curtis was sleeping. The cub stepped aside. I'm going to jump. Then it fell to the ground with a thud, comforting the cubs not to be nervous. Don't be afraid. Daddy will get rid of the bad guys. At this time, The 3 cubs have a clear division of labor. Walk to 3 places. A look of vigilance. I thought that my little cubs had grown up. I became responsible. Bai Qingqing laughed at her aunt for a while. All right, guys. I felt the intention. Get off your father, Curtis. Then, Curtis pulled his tail out suddenly. He stood up suddenly, threw the cub to the ground with a snap. Curtis, did the cubs wake you up? Curtis didn't respond, spitting out letters. Subsequently, Bai Qingqing hurriedly said, Our tribe has been attacked. Vincent and Parker went to fight the enemy. At this time, Curtis used his own head and tail, rolled up the 3 cubs, protected by his side. Together with Bai Qingqing, he was involved in his arms, and said to Bai Qingqing, or you can sleep too. Curtis, who is so sleepy, should be unreliable. I don't know if Vincent and Parker can stop it. At this time, the battle outside is becoming more and more intense. A very tragic voice came out. The orcs below meditated. Bai Qingqing poked out a small head. It looks like the situation is very critical. See the orcs rushing in. Sure enough, it came to rob the female. Help. Ha ha ha. You screamed and cut his throat, and no one let go of him. The leg of the orc who came to help was also bitten off. At this critical moment, Parker rushed over. A snap punch knocks the invading orcs to the ground. I saw Parker rushing over. Bai Qingqing also relieved herself. What he didn't know was a wolf. The wolf of ambition found Bai Qingqing upstairs. Oh, what a good female. Catching him would be a great achievement. Then he jumped into the tree hole at the bottom. At this time, Bai Qingqing only heard a boom behind him. Well, what's going on? Turn your head to look. It turned out that Curtis strangled a wolf. It's like chicks. Neck was pinched off with a click. Curtis then threw it away. Threw the wolf beast out of the hollow of the tree. Stretch out your hand and tail will be cypress green. Caught up in his arms. Promise I won't let you have anything to do. Let's go back to sleep. Bai Qingqing was very anxious. It's all this time. Where can I sleep? Don't you take care of it? Chris sighed. Said that the growth of the tribe needs to be honed. When they can't hold on anymore. I'll go again. It's a male thing. You don't have to worry. I'll take care of you. Bai Qingqing thought that although Curtis had a point, but I'm still not at ease. At this moment, there was a sudden shouting from outside the tree hole. Bai Qingqing turned his head sharply. Familiar sounds were discovered. It was Paige who thought of the danger below. And Becky is pregnant. The situation is urgent. That's when Ford popped out. Found Becky. Becky, why did you come out alone? It turns out that Ford has brought in Becky. I quickly hugged Ford. Don't leave me. I'm not leaving. I'm always there. Are you uncomfortable somewhere? At this point, Becky's stomach began to hurt. Is it blood or you hurt? Suddenly, a few little cubs were born. Well, it's my cub. I'm going to have a cub. I have a child of my own. Ford was very happy. What he didn't notice was, there is danger lurking behind him. Bai Qingqing saw the wolf beast tiptoeing past. Suddenly there was a loud roar. Wolf beast. Ford, you be careful. The location in front of the eyes has been exposed. The wolf beast quickly let out a loud roar. Wow 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 received tips for Ford. When he turned around, he thundered him with a hammer. The beaten wolf beast whined and flew out. Ford wanted to catch up and kill them all. At this time, Betch pulled feud out of me. Paige, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I shouldn't have worried you. I'm not leaving you anymore. Don't be afraid. Meet the embarrassed Ford. Bai Qingqing was also anxious for him. Think of this if it continues. Definitely not. Gotta find something to do. Able to solve the safety problem of females. Bai Qingqing turned his head to look at Curtis, who was sleeping. Surely I can't count on it. You'll have to figure it out yourself. Bai Qingqing turned her head and called out to Parker. Huck. He also rode the invading orcs under his crotch, venting his anger. Huck, you shut it off. Huck hurried to find it. Is there anything important about Qingqing? Kitties said the tribe needs exercise. That makes a lot of sense, though. But both the female and the cub are very dangerous. It's better to gather them together. You can go to battle with confidence. It's good, but where to put it? Well, is there a safer place than Lanzer's turf? It's hard to disagree with that. Okay, I'll send you over first. Well, Bai Qingqing took the mother-in-law in the tribe. Dada rushed to the water's edge. Everyone, keep up. Don't be left behind. Bai Qingqing shouted as he picked up a stone. Pop knocked threw it into the water. Blue horse, you come out. As soon as he heard the call, the blue hare. Boom out of the water. Why is Qingqing calling me in such a hurry? Is there something going on? There was chaos in the tribe. I don't have time to explain to you. I'd like to ask you a favor. You say you blow more bubbles. Let the female take shelter in your water for a while. Is it okay? The blue fur swam over and stroked Bai Qingqing's face. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Blue hair at this time. The women raised questions. Won't you drown if you fall into the water? I'm so scared. Bai Qingqing turned to the many females and said, in order not to distract the fighting males, we have to protect ourselves. Although the dark light under the water can cause discomfort to everyone, but fear not. The blue fur will protect everyone. That's what the women said. Well, I choose to believe you. Me too. Me too. Okay, let's go into the water in order. Don't panic. Don't mess around. The blue hare nodded and began to prepare. That's when the wolves began to rush over. Woohoo woohoo. Woo Parker in order to buy more time. Quickly transform into the form of a beast. With a whine, he pounced on the onrushing wolves. The blue fur on this side sped up his movements. A lot of bubbles were blown out, and told Bai Qingqing to hurry up. Bai Qingqing said that he had brought these women. Take care of their safety first. But don't. Hurry up and blow it. There are more than 40 of them. The sooner you blow it, the safer I am. Qingqing, okay. I listen to you. Poof. Bai Qingqing orderly let everyone enter the bubble in turn. Parker, for everyone's safety. Still fighting for the dead. At this time, Vincent, who had ended the battle on one side, rushed over. Qingqing, why is here? Ake explained. Qingqing is to save the other females. Watch out for the vigilant Vincent behind him and turn his head. With a snort, he snapped the neck of a wolf beast. Seeing that the battle situation is very anxious, Vincent's thought was shaking. Then there was a loud roar. The message was passed on. Numerous orcs of their own race heard the call. I quickly ran over. Going to the puddle wolf is not vegetarian either. When I saw the tiger beasts, there were fewer of them all of a sudden. They also gathered a large number of orcs. Together, a general offensive was launched. Hurry up. Vincent was ahead of the curve. Gather the crowd. Stop them. The wolves launch a general attack. The soldiers surrounded him in 3 ways. I saw the wolf clan coming around from the side. Blue Gate was also shocked. These brutes. Come on, I won't let you hurt me. Lightly, he saw the wolf beast but did not attack. The Blue Gate beasts concentrated their strength and pounced on the water wheel. I'm going to this beast to have an IQ. I saw the water wheel fall down. Soon there will be no oxygen in the water. Then the females in the water are very fast. Will die from lack of oxygen. Damn Venus, go down quickly. It's really not good. I'll give them oxygen. At this time, a tiger beast not far away. I heard the sound of a fight ahead. Well, wasn't it the tribe that I left for a year before? Is there some kind of war going on? I'll have to go back and see. The screen cuts to Jasmine. The mother and daughter hid in the hollow of the tree and shivered. Jasmine saw the wolves rushing towards her. A tiger beast lurks in ambush beside it. Suddenly rushed out and bit a wolf beast to death. Phew. Surround him for me. The team leader and the orcs discussed whether they wanted to help. One of Jasmine's mother's partners said, he wants to protect Jasmine and his partner. The team leader said yes. Then you can take them to the puddle. Then he climbed the tree. Prepare to take Jasmine and Jasmine's mom with you. Jasmine said she had forgotten something. Turn around and get it. Oh, it turned out to be the flame fruit. Turn your head to look. His own mother has been taken away by his partner. Oh, Mom. Fortunately, my father came to me. Silly boy, go. The patriarch picked Jasmine up. Flee quickly. Jasmine discovered the heavenly Alva at this time. Females are being transferred. Lima, help me to the puddle. Rima looked down at Jasmine. I'll pick you up after I'm done delivering this. At this time, the wolf beast hiding in the shadows suddenly burst out. One bite of Jasmine's ass. Pushed Jasmine to the ground. At this time, the patriarch was powerful. Stay away from him. Molly and her father are in danger. Surrounded by a horde of orcs. The white tiger standing next to him found that the figure was very familiar. It seems to be Molly. Then he rushed to the battlefield, whimpered and pounced on the enemy. In this way, the white tiger and the wolf orc scuffled. Molly was very surprised to see the white tiger appear. When did our tribe come so heroically? Charismatic males. Ah, 5 the beast wants you to defeat him. I'll make a donkey with you. Hearing this, the white tiger's morale immediately soared. Really, how are you? It turned out that they had known each other before. At this time, the green hare in the sky discovered Jasmine. Shouted Jasmine, I'm here to pick you up. Goo then both looked at the sky at the same time. Jasmine explained that he was here to save me. In the blink of an eye, the green hare grabbed Jasmine. With a sudden, it flew into the sky. Safely took Jasmine to the sky. Green hare looked at the white tiger on the ground. I thought to myself, why do you think this tiger is a bit of an inexplicable eyesore? So, maybe because he has a secret affection for Jasmine. Next to the pond, Bai Qingqing was still directing everyone to hurry into the water. Not for a while. All the females except Bai Qingqing have already entered the water. Just when Blue Fur let Bai Qingqing also enter the water, Bai Qingqing found the females who had entered the water. Found it too dark inside. Definitely insecure. Then he asked Blue Fur to go to his house. Bring the glowing beads. Blue Fur completed the task in the blink of an eye. Thank you for your hard work. Blue Fur distribute all the light beads. In the process of distribution, Bai Qingqing also found Becky and Ford in the water. In order to be able to see their condition clearly, ride the bubbles and roll in the bubble pile. Wanna hire the past. A few little leopards were playing in the blisters. Woo Woo ran up. Bai Qingqing rolled uncontrollably inside. So active. Don't let their stamina go to waste. Subsequently, let the cubs run together in the same place. The cubs are obedient though, but it still ran in a mess. Carry Bai Qingqing to continue rolling in the water. Because of the huge movement made by Bai Qingqing in the water, caught the attention of Becky and Ford. Ford, you see, that was Bai Qingqing and his leopard. Boy finally came to Betsy and Ford's side. The little leopard boy braked suddenly. Bang! Bubbles and bubbles collide. There was shelling. The boy worries about Bai Qingqing's safety. Hurriedly rushed over. A handful to stabilize the bubbles. Ford also conjured up its claws to hold its bubbles steady. After stopping, Bai Qingqing was very angry. Teach 3 naughty little leopards. The blue door reminds Ford males that their claws are too sharp. Be careful to puncture the bubbles. Frightened, Becky grabbed Ford even tighter. Bai Qingqing cared about Paige and his cubs. See the tiger cub? Bai Qingqing couldn't help but be amazed. Newborn tiger cubs are the same as leopard cubs. The red body has a few sparse hairs. You can't even see the tiger stripes. And it looks a bit like a hippopotamus. Bai Qingqing then introduced to the leopards. They also grew up at such a young age. Seeing that Becky was fine, Bai Qingqing was also much more relieved. Then he began to look for Jasmine. Because of the dangerous behavior of the blue fur towards Jasmine before, Jasmine almost drowned. He was worried that Jasmine was afraid of water. I wanted to go over and appease him, but no one responded. Finally, after turning up the volume, Jasmine heard Bai Qingqing's voice. Stars, I'm here. The boys took me to Aunt Jasmine. Jasmine just called you, and you didn't respond to me. I thought you didn't come down. What's wrong with me? It seems that he is a little afraid of water. He's back. Who was dismissed by me? Isn't it the same as Becky when the male is dispartnered? Bai Qingqing thought. Becky takes revenge on the bears he abandoned. That's why we have the current psychological shadow. Immediately reminded Jasmine. Gotta be careful with that bear beast. Thank you, Qingqing. It's okay to be concerned with friends. Is it a flame fruit inside? You haven't eaten yet. No bears are absent all the time. I ate it. What should I do if I come into heat? Oh, 2. The invading wolf orcs gather their brothers. Go and besiege the puddle. All this was seen by Vincent. Then he immediately came up with a brilliant plan. At this time, a wild wolf smelled the female. Found a hole in the second floor of the tree with the smell of females. Ah, there are still females who haven't come out. I'll go up and have a look. Then he transformed into a human form and ran into the hollow of the tree. I saw a bang. A wolf was thrown from the second floor. The other wolf beasts saw this. It's also very puzzling. Then they all transformed into human forms. Got into it like the first wolf. Then it fell out with a thud. Oh, I saw wolf beasts burrowing into the tree holes. It was thrown out like a dead dog. Finally caught the attention of the other wolf orcs. The bones of Dowdu's body were broken. It's become soft meat. What climbed up is humanoid. But he that goes up dies in the form of a beast. Explain what made him feel instantly dangerous. Uncontrollably, he turned into a beast form. But it was still inevitable. The power inside the tree hole is obviously very dangerous. After analyzing it, the wolf beast, known as the boss, shouted, "Who's pretending to be a god? Get the hell out of here." After seeing the car bridge, there was no movement inside. He gathered the other orcs and gathered around. Then the wolves and beasts walked up one by one. I saw one go in, drop one, go in one, drop one. Seeing the invincible, this boss finally took someone with him. Fleeing in hesitation. Wait until the other orcs are gone. Vincent poked his head out. He grinned and said, Did you run away so quickly? It's really vulnerable. Tiger orcs fighting below. I saw the wolf orcs fleeing one after another. They were all shocked. Excited to think of one. I must have been scared away by their tall and mighty figures. The screen shifts to the water's edge. Bluefur inspects the water wheel. Thankfully, it's not bad. It can be reattached. At this time, Bai Qingqing in the blister felt dizzy. I patted the balloon I was carrying. Blue hair. What's wrong? I'm dizzy. Can't breathe. You should be deprived of oxygen. Can't breathe. I'll blow you another bubble. Let's change it. No, you might as well send me up. Okay. And then the blue fur pushed the white-green bubbles. Slowly swam to the water. Grunt, grunt. Eventually, the blisters were pushed to the surface. Bai Qingqing was also able to breathe fresh air. I feel much more comfortable now. Thank you, Sister Lawn. It's nothing, as long as you're happy. Well, subsequently, Bai Qingqing heard a rustling sound. Looked to the shore. I saw that the orcs of the Tiger clan were cleaning up the battlefield. There was a smell of blood everywhere, but it was as if the war was over. Bai Qingqing saw a familiar figure at the water's edge. I'm cleaning up the blood from my body. It's Pat. Parker washes his paws by the river. Bai Qingqing's voice was heard. How is the battle going now? Parker immediately transforms into a human form. Then he said that the wolf beast had fled, as he put on his clothes. I'm worried that they'll come back at night, so let the females stay in the water overnight. Then Bai Qingqing asked Vincent. Parker smiled wickedly. Hee. Bai Qingqing clutched his chest. Worriedly asked, Why are you suddenly smiling like this? Parker grabbed Bai Qingqing's hand. Speaking of which, I said it was Vincent who drove away the wolf beast. What do you think it is? Well, nothing. I almost got it wrong. Parker then explained that Vincent had deliberately let them go. Just to know. Who the hell sent the wolves to make trouble? Wait until the truth is found out. There is no good fruit for them to eat. Especially in. I sneak up on the night of Qingqing's bar. It's really a lack of virtue to get home. Hear the snap. Bai Qingqing immediately shyly gagged Parker's mouth. You're keeping a low profile. Oops, got it. The orcs clear the battlefield. Bai Qingqing was very unbearable when she saw this cruel scene. At this time, Parker put his arm around Bai Qingqing's shoulders and said sleepy. I'm going to take her home to sleep. On the way back, Bai Qingqing suddenly thought. A new tiger beast has arrived in the tribe. I don't know which one. Ask Parker if he knows. Parker turned his head curiously. And you asked what this was for? Oh, don't be cranky. Just tell me which one it is. Parker then moved his chin. Said that there was indeed a helper. The strength is not bad. He's really here. Why, I didn't see it. Then Bai Qingqing saw the ghost probe in the grass. Oh, what a clever look. Bai Qingqing was frightened and immediately grabbed Parker's arm. Said yes. Is it the one in the woods? Well, how do you know in the water? You keep your voice down. It was Jasmine who told me. He's the male who used to dissolve Jasmine's relationship. Then you oops. Don't talk about being heard. Well, as long as it's not a rival in love. What are you talking about? Then Bai Qingqing pretended to be angry and walked away. Parker explained later that I was thinking too much. He looked weird. How can I be worthy of you? We won't discuss it anymore. Let's go home. Okay? Well, at this time, there was a sound behind him. Turn your head to look. It's the blue fur who called. Bai Qingqing said that she wanted to fix the water wheel tonight, so that the females can be guaranteed to feed. So can you get that stupid leopard to help install it? You're the stupid leopard. I have a name. Besides, do you have a begging attitude? I'm saving the females of your tribe. Who's asking whom? I'm going to bite to death. He's okay, Parker. You can help me. Well, okay. Parker has worked hard for you. After Parker helped install the water wheel, I've been complaining about my sore hands. Then I smelled a strange smell. How come there are so many unfamiliar smells in the house? No, I don't allow it. There are other bearish smells on my turf. Parker then turned into a bestiality, rolling in the trees all the time. Rolled from inside the tree hole to outside the tree hole. Bai Qingqing saw Parker rolling on the ground, shouting loudly, You don't want to sleep with me tonight. I'm going to sleep with Curtis. Parker immediately retorted, Blame Curtis for letting the wolf beast in. Let the house stink to death. The main thing is that you're too dirty right now. Don't come near me. Parker swooped in front of Bai Qingqing. Said yes. We haven't finished talking yet. Bai Qingqing immediately refused. What time has it been? It's almost dawn. Parker wilted. A beautiful night is attacked by a wolf beast. Forget about the interruption. Was also disgusted by Qingqing. I'm sorry. Subsequently, Bai Qingqing's stomach growled uncontrollably. Parker jerked his head up. Concerned asked, Are you hungry? No, nothing. I want to sleep first. Subsequently, Bai Qingqing immediately threw herself into Curtis's arms. The two of them were tired of holding each other like this. Bai Qingqing suggested that Curtis go to sleep for a while. Curtis said, Yes. Then he waited to kiss Bai Qingqing's forehead. Then I'll go to sleep first. Well, it's best to sleep here. Curtis didn't say a word. Fell on Bai Qingqing's thigh. Fell asleep. Bai Qingqing sighed. Alas. So be it. 15 minutes later. Bai Qingqing couldn't support it a little. What to do? The leg was numb, and then Parker drilled up and said, Qingqing, I've cooked the fish balls. Sure. Chris is sleeping. You help me. What's wrong with the following? Parker will be a green man, taken from under Curtis's head, and brought the boiled fish balls. Let Bai Qingqing eat slowly. I'm a little tired. I want to sleep first. Bai Qingqing 3 under 5 divided by 2. Drain all the bowls of fish balls. After a resounding burp, lie on the ground and stroke your stomach. Oops, it's so comfortable. At this time, Bai Qingqing's gaze turned to the two sleeping husbands. It made his heart more satisfied. After a peaceful night, early the next morning, the male orcs all came to the pond. Take your own female. A male orc lifted a large rock. He shouted loudly, "Come out quickly." The stone was then thrown into the water with a thud. The blue cat, who was woken up by the rock, was very angry. Suddenly there was a thunderstorm. Who's throwing a stone into the water? Do you want to kill the female? I'm not responsible for popping bubbles. At this time, the orc who smashed the stone quickly apologized. Accompany Xiaoxin. I'll be sure to pay attention next time. Let's get the females out of here. Came to the door and yawned. That's a lot to do early in the morning. It's trapped me. Then he turned to look at the orcs and waited. Blue Fur was angry. Wake up all the females who are asleep in the water. Got up. Your old lover has come to pick you up with a stone. It's best if I don't hit me. Stone me. Let them do it themselves. It's all earned. Really, at this point Jasmine said let herself go up first. Although he is still very afraid of the blue hair. But Bai Qingqing said that he must believe in blue hair. He also believed what Bai Qingqing said. So now take courage. Offered to let Blue Fur send him up. Blue Fur also does what he says. Finally, all the females were sent ashore. At that moment, an orc approached. Jasmine is me. Cow. Jasmine looked at the male who had been abandoned by herself. Very shocking. Frightened, he turned around and ran. Jasmine. Wait a minute. Jasmine, who knew she couldn't run, suddenly stopped the car. Inner tangle and struggle. What am I going to do? I guess it's like being ridden on a sheep to get revenge on me. Carl walked over and asked, Jasmine, are you still mad at me? Jasmine pretended to smile calmly. I turned my head and said hello. Carl, you're already a two-door beast. I remember when you did. Yes, I'm out there. It used to be just a striped beast. Progress is faster on the outside. At this time, Carl noticed that Molly did not have the beast tattoo on her body. It shows that he has not yet dismissed Lou. He hugged Molly very excitedly and said, You haven't solved it yet. Well, you're hurting me. Carl, I didn't mean to. Let's talk. Good. Jasmine was amazed at Carl's performance. He actually agreed so honestly. Subsequently, Jasmine couldn't tell if it was because of fear. And there is not so much disgust and impatience with Carl. Carl seems to be more mature now than before. It's more gentle. Thinks Carl. It won't be like. The males who were abandoned by the females were just as brutal. The two chatted like this. Walk forward. Green Hair saw the backs of the two from behind. Slightly jealous. I came to a clearing. Jasmine told Carl to sit down. Carl obediently sat down and sat upright. Jasmine snickered at Carl's performance. Carl became so obedient. It's out of tune with before. There is a big difference. Is it? If I had met me as mature as I am now. You ain't not just wouldn't. Jasmine interrupted Carl with a sudden voice. Let's talk about it now. How are you out there? Okay. I'm talking about females. Outside, even everybody is freer. Some females are reluctant to add partners. I want to find novelty again. Will show favor to me. What blood? Qing heard that Carl had a lot of friends outside. Jasmine was shocked. Carl immediately explained no. I only have you in my heart. No females have been accepted. Jasmine also reacted to what she had just said. I felt a pang of shame in my heart. Heck, let's live in a different tribe. Jasmine comforts Carl. Speaking of those gunners, may accept Carl into their family. Carl immediately asked affectionately, would you like to? What? I want to join your family. But I'm not married yet. Don't want that. I can wait. Jasmine, who was taken aback, suddenly said seriously, we're not partners anymore. I hope you'll keep your distance. See how Carl is doing now. Jasmine was still resistant. Feel the rejection of Jasmine. Carl immediately straightened his back. Sit honestly. Jasmine, I can wait. I heard some males say it last night. You haven't been in heat yet. Some males are reluctant to pursue you. Hear this. Jasmine was shocked. What they say is true. I don't care. I just have to stay with you. Carl heard such an affectionate confession. Jasmine was very moved. Moved, he burst into tears. Get up and turn around and run. Don't follow. Dad. Jasmine wiped away tears. Hal then stood up. Disappointment at the thought of what happened to Jasmine. I don't have a chance again. The screen shifts to Bai Qingqing. 3 poles on the sun. The sun burned his ass and woke up yawning. Bai Qingqing after waking up. I found myself covered in sweat. Stretch out and cool yourself off. When he was stretching, he bumped into Curtis. Curtis is a worm. He was cold. Then the greedy Bai Qingqing hugged Curtis and rubbed it. Parker walked in. I just happened to see this scene. Hurriedly went over and hugged Bai Qingqing. It is proposed to go to the top floor to sleep until the evening. It's windy up there. It's too high. Is the 5th floor cool? Parker lifted Bai Qingqing's clothes. I took the leaves of a large tree and fanned him. It's going to be a little cooler. Do you want to eat fish today? Just eat stewed meat and fish balls. Wait for Curtis to wake up. Let's eat fish again. Make sashimi. Heard eating fish. The feline was drooling in an instant. Okay, I came to the outside of the tree hole, facing the natural breeze. It feels very cool. Hey, Vincent. Seeing Bai Qingqing so worried about Vincent, Parker somewhat regretted that he had no basis. This will at least make Bai Qingqing miss herself. Not so fast. The 2 tribes will not be too close to each other. So it seems. The orcs had come all the way. Either you want to serve us in a pot, or the same as our cemetery. Want to find out where we are? Well, your analysis makes sense. Hey, let's not talk about that. You go wash your face. I'll cook it for you. Well, Bai Qingqing walked on the road. A strange tree man I haven't seen before came over with fruit. This one is up to you. No, I already have a partner. Jasmine was crying. Can you help me get this to him? I'll give you a few more. Jasmine, he cried. I don't need to give it to me. I'll go see him. Thank you very much. You're welcome. For a moment. Bai Qingqing found Jasmine. Jasmine was really crying. Jasmine, I'm Qingqing. I've come to see you. Qingqing, why are you here? That tiger threatens you. There's nothing sad about that. Subsequently, Jasmine will stop the males from pursuing Jasmine's business. Told Bai Qingqing. Who told you that? Carl. Then Jasmine jerked to her feet. Suddenly the foot stomped. I must be blue. Whoever eats one first. Hasn't it broken after all this time? Well, it won't break. As long as it doesn't break, it never breaks. Followed by Jasmine. Look around and see what you're looking for. I'll show you what's inside. Then he picked up a stone. A single click shatters a flame fruit. Would you like to try one? That's not necessary. You eat. You've already thought about it. Are you going to eat? Well, there's nothing to think about. I ate it, and then Jasmine picked up the fruit. I swallowed it and ate it. Smell the aroma. Bai Qingqing could only swallow his saliva. How does it taste? Jasmine replied immediately. Smell good. And saliva. Bai Qingqing complained speechlessly. You'd better finish eating. Then Jasmine finished eating. It means that the flavor of the flame fruit is perfect. I want to eat another one. Don't wait. Well, let's see the effect first. What to do if the effect of the medicine is too strong? Well. Then I'll take another one tomorrow. Bai Qingqing thought yes. If Jasmine eats no reaction, you can also try one yourself. After all, it looks so delicious. Then Bai Qingqing continued to comfort Jasmine. You see, you still have tears on your face. Eyes like rabbits. I don't cry after eating the flame fruit. They've all become rabbits. Jasmine burst out laughing. Ha, are there rabbit orcs? I've only eaten hair. Ha, I'm talking nonsense. Bai Qingqing then gave him the fruit from the strange orc. It was handed to Jasmine. Jasmine immediately gave it to Bai Qingqing. They ate together. While eating, I asked who gave it to me. I don't know, a two-tattooed beast. By the way, There was a small gap last night. It's him. He was a young male who did not take part in the fight. I'm going to have a relationship with him in the future. Why not now? The now word. My first partner wanted to find my favorite. Bai Qingqing looked at Jasmine's eyes. Hey, green hair. This girl is still thinking about the green hair. Bai Qingqing wants Jasmine to give up the green hair. Jasmine explained that he didn't want to fight for those. Rob the male and rob the hero. The raiders don't want to let the males either, because of their appearance. And like yourself, pursue yourself. As long as Bai Qingqing did not accept the green-haired Jasmine, I've always had the opportunity to be with green hair. Bai Qingqing sighed. Just like it. That's when Vincent returned with a group of orcs. Now the tribe has grown a lot. Numerous orcs cheered for the return of the Tiger King. A mighty. Bai Qingqing welcomed Vincent's return from the tree. Vincent is back. It's so lively. Everybody's happy. Hey, Curtis isn't happy. Curtis rubbed his tail. Touched it. It's time. Bai Qingqing also followed the orcs outside. He shouted loudly. Mighty and mighty. At this moment, Curtis suddenly stretched out the snake's tail. With a sudden, he brought Bai Qingqing to his side. The little flying snake is coming. Naughty slept for so long. I just woke up and wanted to tease you. Why did you sleep so long this time? Because you're about to have new clothes to wear. What kind of logic is this? You're going to peel your skin. It's not done yet. Chris put a stamp on Bai Qingqing's mouth. I pinched it twice. Both of them breathed heavily. Curtis then told us that this was our secret. Fortunately, in order to let Curtis molt, able to guarantee the safety of Bai Qingqing and himself. So no one can say. You have to keep your mouth shut. Vincent had arranged a place to stay for many of the orcs he had brought. I came to find Bai Qingqing. Vincent, are you hungry? Thinking of the warmth of Bai Qingqing, Vincent immediately felt like home. Bai Qingqing is like an angel who cares for herself. My heart is finally at ease. No longer rootless fluttering like before. There's a lot of inner drama in Vincent. Immerse yourself in your own world. At this time, Bai Qingqing shook the text in front of Vincent's eyes. Mori, what's wrong with you? Nothing, just thought of something. Hey, my belly seems to be a little bigger. Bai Qingqing straightened her stomach proudly. This little girl has grown up a lot. Why are you covered in sweat? Let's go sleep on it at night. There's no wine down there. It's definitely cool up there. Vincent thought of Bai Qingqing's living conditions. It's so rudimentary. It's so hard. I made a secret decision in my heart. We must build the best stone castle for Bai Qingqing. And it has to be done quickly. Bai Qingqing can live comfortably. At this time, Curtis came over and hugged Bai Qingqing. Let's go up now. Now. Well, wouldn't it be too early? Curtis didn't respond. Without saying a word, it got tangled in the trunk of the tree. I got into the hole in the tree. Through their own slender body. A variety of stunt toys are on display. He stood up. Came to a high place. Bai Qingqing is a little afraid of heights. Chris comforted him. If you get close to me, you won't fall. Although what you say is very hot. But you're so cool. Vincent came up from under the hollow in the tree. He carried a blanket made of animal skins on his shoulders. Tell Bai Qingqing. If it feels hot. At night, I went up to the top of the tree hole. Curtis turned back to Vincent and Bai Qingqing. I'm going to go out. Come back in the afternoon. I'm in charge of the food. Bai Qingqing knew it in her heart. Curtis is going to molt. Okay, subsequently. Curtis was lightning fast. The speed at which the bell rings. Flew over with a whoosh. Hugged Bai Qingqing and left. I hate always being such a serious hooligan. At this time, only Bai Qingqing and Vincent were left in the house. The atmosphere is very subtle. What to do exactly? It's embarrassing. Ah, that pack of wolf beasts. What are you doing with him? Vincent said. According to his message, it's all the bald old man doing the trick in the back. And his body. There were still a lot of Sven orcs helping him. Bai Qingqing was shocked. Suddenly I thought of those merfolk. Why are there so many Svenmans? Later, I remembered that I was looking for poultry before. Many of the Sven beasts have come ashore. I didn't meet him in the water. Then I thought, it is also the sheer number of these longevity city orcs. There are also quite a few strong people in it. And such a large area in the deep sea. The number of mermaids is even more numerous. It's not uncommon for there to be a lot of Seawind powerhouses in it. Bai Qingqing was worried. Just Vincent and Curtis? Can they beat those fish? Vincent said confidently on land. What are the Sven mermaids afraid of? No need for Curtis. I'll be able to hold my ground. Bai Qingqing thought about it. Poof, he laughed. That's right. If in the water, Curtis won't suffer. He was originally a water snake. Haha. Platinum then said to Vincent that he didn't know why. There's always a reassuring magic to listen to you. Yes, but you still have to be careful. It wouldn't be good if they learned crocodile sneak attack. Well, what a crocodile? I don't know if you're floating on the water. A fish like a piece of bark. The bite force of the mouth is particularly strong. Wait for the animal to go over and drink water. We'll snap and bite the other person's neck. Then drag it down to eat it. Vincent looked at Bai Qingqing's description. It's so cute. What's wrong? I'm not right. Or maybe there are no crocodiles here. Vincent said. Through the description of Bai Qingqing, he initially speculated that it should be called Fusho. It's a beast that floats up. Then Vincent took Bai Qingqing with him. Let him take a look at the country I have laid for you. He then said that the wall would be built in the near future. Let the new orcs do the work. Bai Qingqing exhaled. Sure enough, there is no such thing as a free lunch. They want to find females. I'll have to work here as a coolie. After a while, Parker came in, lying in Bai Qingqing's arms like a kitten, sprinkled around Bai Qingqing and walked around, hugged and hugged Bai Qingqing. Completely ignore Vincent. The self-conscious Vincent took the form of a beast. Take a nap while lying on your stomach. Parker's childish trick succeeded. Hey. Bai Qingqing was happily playing with her cubs. Urge Parker to make sashimi. Let Vincent hurry up and rest. Wake up at night and eat sashimi. Hee, Qingqing cares about me. Give Lancer some too. He loves to eat fish. What to do for him? He's not from our family. Don't be so stingy. Give it to me so that I don't have to be so stingy. Hee, the name is so easy to use. After that, Bai Qingqing came to the water's edge. Parker catches a big fish in the water. Wow, you're so fast. Piece of cake. Go home later. I can show you faster speeds. Bai Qingqing turned her head shyly. Rogue Parker raised his knife and fell. A knife broke open the belly of the big fish. I saw the inside of the belly of the big fish. There are many golden roe. Bai Qingqing sighed at such a large fish roe. You can eat enough fish roe alone. Make it all for you to eat. No, I can't finish it. That's right. Let's eat together. The blue fur emerged from the water at this time. I saw this scene in front of me. Blue fur shouted loudly that it was too cruel. Actually 8 cubs. Then he said, these little caviars can be many, many small fish. Bai Qingqing retorted, why don't you care about this big fish? That's because big fish are food. Big fish is food. Isn't it food when the fish grow up? Bai Qingqing raised a philosophical rhetorical question. Blue fur suddenly fell into deep thought. It turns out that it can be eaten in the morning and evening. I just looked at these yellow roe. Especially like our merfolk cubs. We merfolk haven't had cubs in years. Once glorious times. The young of the mermaid rests on the fat seaweed. Into a colorful patch. Give birth to life one by one. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Bai Qingqing ignored Lan Maoer's hypocrisy. A sentence pulls him back to reality. Kill all killed. It's too late for us to regret it. Lan Maoer sighed, sigh. Eat as much as you like. Although I also like to eat fish. But, in the future, you just don't catch this big-bellied fish. Parker, a feline, doesn't care about that. The broadsword was raised. Snort too lazy to pay attention to you. It's best not to eat it after a while. Boom. A knife slashed at the fish's head. Then Bai Qingqing said to the blue cat, "They're going to make sashimi later. Invite him to eat with him." The blue cat said very tactfully, "Yes. I'm chopping fish here." Parker hears this. Startled, he choked and flew the knife out, and asked angrily, "Can you be thicker?" Parker catches a big fish. The little cubs smelled fishy. Woo-woo rushed over. One brakes are unstable. Bang bang banged into the head of the big fish. The angry little cub bites the mouth of the dead fish and breathes. "It's really muddy," Bai Qingqing scolded the boy on the side. "Shut up," the little cub heard. But he didn't stop talking. Parker saw that the little cub didn't listen to Bai Qingqing. A scythe flew over. "Well, that's it." The little cub wilted. I turned my head and saw the internal organs that had been pulled out next to me. A vicious dog pounced on the poop. Bai Qingqing hurriedly stopped Parker. "How old is the reprimand? Also gnaw, and be careful that there is no female medicine in the future." Bai Qingqing hugged the little cub over, carefully taught to pay attention to the rules of eating raw. In this way, the writing on the face will be different. Sexually disgusting. Then Bai Qingqing lay on the ground, seriously taught the little pups to eat. Extra Parker on the side. I saw Bai Qingqing carefully teaching the little pups. Very happy. Felt that Bai Qingqing looked like a fool. After a while, the fish will be dissected. Parker returned home with the family. After Parker finished dissecting the big fish, I made a lot of fish balls. Give a pot of stew. Parker then went up and called Vincent down to watch the fire. He's going up to cut the sashimi. Bai Qingqing said that he would not let Vincent come to see the fire. He hasn't had a good rest these days. Just let me watch the fire. Parker didn't refute either, and said he would come down soon. Parker quickly cut out a lot of fillets. After Bai Qingqing proposed to put the fillets in the basin, take it to the puddle and freeze it. By the way, I called the blue fur to come over and drink soup together. Parker was jealous. "I don't want to go. It's useless to be spoiled. I promised them. You forgot." Then Parker set out and called for Bluefur. Bluefur and Parker carried the braided sashimi back. Haven't carried to the destination yet. Bluefur immediately let go and rushed over. Hugged Bai Qingqing and asked, "Wow, what a fragrant thing." The jealous Parker hurriedly ran over and said, come on, look at this, and this one is even more delicious. Is it for me to see?" Parker lifted the lid with a wicked smile on his face. I saw a big pot of fish roe boiled. Parker asked wickedly, and Shamba tasted better. The blue cat saw that the fish cub was cooked, broke down and fell to his knees and cried. Bai Qingqing witnessed the whole process, speechless for a while. Oops. It's better to give people a buffer time. Dislike. Vincent walked over. There is less food to see. Asked about Chris not back yet. I'm going to get some more food. One fish is not enough for the whole family. Well, Chris hasn't come back yet. He had to hurry to hunt. Hundreds of guns smiled and turned. The head said no. Chris will bring food when he comes back. Well then. Hundreds of guns greeted Vincent and Parker. There were also Lanmar and the others who came over to eat together. Don't wait for Chris. Blue Cat and Parker gobble it up. Looked at Bai Qingqing in shock. Is it so delicious? Parker hurriedly got Bai Qingqing some fish roe to eat. Bai Qingqing was slightly angry. Tell Parker not to mention fish roe in front of the Blue Cat. Blue Cat, you eat fish head is delicious. The fish balls below are also steamed. All can be eaten. Don't worry, I'm not going to be polite to you. Sure, Lawnmouth stretched out his spoon. Dip into the pot and bite a fish roe and put it in your mouth. Bai Qingqing thought he was wrong. Blue Hare shouldn't vomit for a while. But I saw the enjoyment on the face of the Blue Hare. Eating wonderful fish roe. Ah yes, I'm thinking too much. At this time, Lan Mao comforted Bai Qingqing in turn. Let him not have a psychological burden. Yes, you're right. After that, the Blue Hare is even more unceremonious. Eat the fish roe vigorously in the pot. Suddenly, I felt a chill in my eyes next to me. Only then did the blue fur stop his exaggerated eating movements. At this time, he was It doesn't have a bit of a psychological burden to eat. 3 adults are eating. The little cubs play on the side. I looked up and saw Curtis back. Wow, Daddy Snake is back. Curtis called out to Bai Qingqing. Curtis, you're finally back. Wow, what a big pig. Thank you for your hard work. At this time, the sharp-eyed Curtis hit the blue hare with a knife. Blue fur trembled with fear. I'm going back to get the ingredients. Curtis didn't chase after him, because Bai Qingqing pulled him. An angry Curtis grabbed 2 pigs in the back with hind legs. Click. Tear the pig in half from the position of the crotch. Why, such a strong brute force? Bai Qingqing was shocked. Bai Qingqing is glad that Chris didn't. There is a catch-up to do it. He then quickly changed the subject. Chris, you're back. Let's eat fish balls together. I have no interest in fish. Eat more if you like. Whether it's a good mood or a bad one. Isn't it jealous? The heart of the serpent. Needles on the bottom of the sea. It's hard to guess. The blue cat, scared away by Curtis, came over again with a plate of sashimi. Parker ran over and took the sashimi. You can finally eat the legendary delicacy. Remove the raw fish fillet. After sprinkling with some condiments, handed it to Bai Qingqing. Taste it. It's delicious. It's cold and cold. It's just a little light. Then I'll add some more salt. Bai Qingqing said that he had a strong taste. He just added salt himself. Subsequently, after Parker took out Bai Qingqing's share, the rest of them are divided into a few more. Curtis and Vincent are both big bowls. The spiky blue fur got half of the 2. Humph. Just treat you dead fish boy differently. But blue fur didn't care at all. Well, it's so delicious. What a delicacy this is. Hey, what an elm head. There is good food on the side. Vincent brought the wine. Thank you for your hard work. Vincent is fine. Bai lightly knocked a few times. I want to open the jar. Parker volunteered, or I'd come. Then he pulled out his own nails. I lifted the lid with a bang. The inside is full of aroma. It smells better than last year. The Blue Gate saw things that had been put on for a year. Can you still eat this thing? Bai Qingqing explained. The more you put the wine, the more mellow it becomes. The more you put it, the better it tastes. A few of the little cubs also climbed onto the table. Want to taste this delicious elixir? See the little cubs behave. Bai Qingqing remembered this time last year. He and Curtis's little snakes were drinking wine together. Suddenly I remembered the little cub. Bai Qingqing's mood went down all of a sudden. Parker thinks the little cubs are making Bai Qingqing angry. Stretch out your hand and praise. Drove the little cubs to the ground in one fell swoop. Bai Qingqing hurriedly explained that it was not because of the little cub, and offered to give the little cubs a share as well. Let them enjoy it too. Okay, I'll give them a drink. Don't be unhappy. Well, Parker poured a glass of wine. Placed on the ground. The little cubs drank merrily. Watch the little cubs drink wine. Bai Qingqing also saw things and thought about people. Oh no. Vicious snake. I remembered the way the little cubs drank wine. The mood is even heavier. After eating for a while, Vincent left early because he had a job. Bai Qingqing was about to drink wine. Curtis reached out and pressed Bai Qingqing's bowl. Said that it has been released for a year. I'll drink you first, and then I'll drink it. Curtis took a sip. Pak Ching helps Curtis wipe the wine stains from his mouth. He then asked Curtis if he had seen the snake. No. Blue Gate also wants to participate in the chat. Asked, you're lost again. Where to get lost? How long has it been? And the result has been ignored by everyone. Blue Fur had no choice but to find himself a staircase to go down. Haha, this fish is so delicious. Bai Qingqing proposed. Can Curtis get the little snakes back? Wait until they're older before letting them out. Curtis ignored Bai Qingqing's suggestion. Bai Qingqing kicked over, but was entangled by Curtis's head and tail. I'll tell you about serious things. Okay, then said that I didn't find it last time I went back. Because they must be scattered. I don't know where they went. It may have been reduced to food for other beasts. Hearing that his little cub was eaten, Bai Qingqing was shocked. He turned his head and lay down in Parker's arms and cried. Parker reassured that he would wait until the tribe was strong. Those little snakes and beasts will definitely come and grab the females. Listen to this sentence. Sure enough, it is most in line with the taste of Bai Qingqing. Bai Qingqing suddenly came to his senses. Let the pineapple hurry up and become stronger. Let them come back. Parker then asked Bai Qingqing to eat meat and drink wine. Seeing Chris drink so much. I've drunk it for so long and haven't died. It means that this thing is not poisonous. Bai Qingqing looked at Parker with tears in her eyes and said, You made me cry and laugh. Ugly to death. Parker held Bai Qingqing's face. The affectionate confession is not ugly at all. It's just that it looks better when you laugh. We're going to laugh a lot in the future. Right? That's right. Let's see what this sake tastes like. Bai Qingqing picked up the wine. Took a sip. Oops, babies can't drink too much. Drink it, then I'll be all done. Bai Qingqing, who is in a good mood. The scenery has also become beautiful. In such a wonderful environment. Drink wine and eat meat with your beloved. It's very pleasant. Early the next night, Vincent summoned a meeting of the orcs. The king convened on such a large scale. Did the wolves attack? Vincent explained. Today is something important to announce. He was to gather the people together to build a wall. It is used to protect the safety of the tribe. As soon as this event was announced, the orcs were very excited and delighted. Then Vincent asked the patriarch to organize it. Rational division of labor. I am talking in the interval. Vincent's eyes hit the green fur that wanted to slip away. You can't let the green fur sit idle. The green hare who was called knew it. Vincent was going to call himself to work again. Vincent stopped green fur. Asked how many objects the green hare can carry on its back. Green hare sighed. Accept it calmly. Turning his head and answering honestly. Eventually bring 2 adult males. After getting the answer, Vincent turned his head and said, Come over here and help. There are chores that need to be used by you. The green hares listened to the chores. Are you underestimating me? Vincent sighed. He was not argued. Bai Qingqing trotted all the way. Found at the water's edge. Jasmine said, Why did the Tiger King let them these females? Early in the morning, they all squatted next to the puddle. Do not leave. Bai Qingqing said that because of the need to build a city defense offensive, almost all the males were dispatched. The output of the force. Patrol of patrols. The lively tribe suddenly fell silent. Now only some females and cubs can be seen, still dangling next to the tribal puddle. I know the good intentions of the Tiger King. Jasmine is no longer lost. Bai Qingqing asked, after Jasmine ate the flame fruit. There is no */. Jasmine said no. Did you hear it? Bai Qingqing became interested at once. He was ready to eat. Bai Qingqing questioned that the flame fruit had no aphrodisiac effect. Jasmine immediately poured cold water on it. After eating it yesterday, stomach feels hot. The effect is still there. I don't have anything to eat. White Star worried. Because I have a child in my belly. So it might not be good to eat this thing. But if you don't eat it, I'll always be thinking about it. If you don't eat for a day, you're uncomfortable. If you eat it, you will feel uncomfortable for a day. Jasmine grabbed a flame fruit and ate it. He said that after he finished eating, he went to find Alva. If Alva refuses, go find someone else. Ha ha ha, the thinking is so clear. Do you say that this person has a new goal? Yes. It's the same Chell tiger beast that asked you to deliver fruit last time. This reminded Bai Qingqing of everything. It was with Vincent who went to build the city house. The tiger beast on the offensive. The picture came to Vincent's side. The crowd was carrying stones and working hard to build it. The walls of the city have begun to take shape. Parker, on his part, beat the big rock to the required size. Boom. Bang bang bang. Bang bang bang. It looks very good. It's small again. At this moment, an orc behind him called out to Parker. Speaking of which, the stones over there are relatively large. Parker walked over and said, Bai Qingqing had mentioned the orc. The orc scratched his head shyly. Ha ha ha, though he's beautiful. But I've had a favorite female for a long time. Ha ha. Parker heard what he meant. This orc thought that Bai Qingqing liked him. Inwardly retorted, you want to be beautiful. Parker didn't splash her cold water. Conceived more narcissistically. When did it attract Bai Qingqing's attention? He became obsessed with himself. My heart was in a tangle. He liked Polly. If you don't agree to be Bai Qingqing's partner, isn't there going to be a fight? If you can't beat it, you have to be his partner. I like Jasmine. Oops, what to do? Parker couldn't stand it. The orcs here are still there. What to do, what to do? Parker smacked and turned. One grabbed the orc's neck. Lying on him. Alas, forget it, forget it. Then patiently explained Qingqing. Just tell me Jasmine has the idea of accepting you. I'm kind enough to tell you. The orcs who heard the news were very excited. Hugged Parker's hand like, said really? Is Jasmine really thinking so? I can't stand the chirping of. Parker was speechless. If I'm guilty, please let heaven punish me. Don't let me face this, okay? Could you please let go of your hands?